himself a crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
The crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
Nice. Very good job. Yes, way to take it.
I really thought through it.
Word by word, step by
Every
step.
one of them. Like, I'm not going to get concrete right and then screw up repair by saying repar.
Yeah, good point.
You know,
or I've often sometimes when you do the everlevelconcrete.com, like that took a while to get down.
Yeah,
sometimes
I think if you just go slow with that, that's fine.
Yeah, I actually find that if I go slower with words, I'm more likely to mess them up.
Yeah,
Like,
because if you go
you
faster,
more
you can
time
just
to
skip
think
over it.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
The less time I have to think, I feel like the better I
Look,
am.
the goal today was to not say concrete, and I didn't say concrete.
Well, you know
until
what?
I purposely
You
said
did
it myself.
I
there
applaud
twice.
you, Shafe.
One of
Thank
the best things that I actually got from hockey was I had a coach who hated clapping. Like he hated when everybody would like clap for an extended period of time. He was a weirdo, okay? But he would do this thing called the team clap. It's like everybody team clap. 3, 2, 1. We all give one clap. I felt like doing that with you there. It was very proud.
awkward.
It was very, very good stuff.
It feels like a football team thing where they do the one clap and then
I don't know.
everybody else joins
That's the one thing with my relationship with sports is like I've only ever been in one kind of locker room. I've only ever been in the hockey locker room. I've never.
It's a different kind of locker room, different smell. to it as well.
Different smell, different. You're
Steve,
totally right.
The smell
Sauter.
is totally different.
Well, that and just everything else is just different, and it's
Yeah.
a senile displace. It's completely what goes on in a hockey locker room. And nobody would be mad at me for saying this because we all know it's true. It's asinine. It's an asinine place to grow up.
Well, the hockey culture always strikes me as like a family of brothers or extended family that all just lives on top of each other. And
Yeah.
like that's basically what it seems like.
I would say that there are two different types of hockey cultures. There's the hockey culture amongst the players, and then there's the hockey culture that's surrounding the team, which is to say like the parents. So like this whole thing
moms and stuff.
Moms and dads,
Yeah.
big time.
Well,
like
there's just a
That's a sports
well,
thing.
here's the thing, like a lot of, and you Sauter, you might be great for this conversation. Like the whole like travel baseball thing, how it's becoming ridiculous, and it's about like it's a pay to play, all of that. Like baseball's just
it's been there for a long time.
Well, baseball's been like a decade behind hockey. You know, like this is hockey has been in this spot, like where baseball continues to go. Hockey's been chilling up there.
But
forever.
That's sort of because there's a barrier for hockey that exists. It doesn't exist for almost any other
There's
sport.
a major financial barrier.
Well, especially in a place around here.
Yeah, especially
hockey.
The funny thing too is that like you guys are right. The major financial barrier of hockey is there, but also you can't just like go to a park and like step on the ice and just play unless
you bring your roller
unless you are from northern Minnesota,
which is why all of the best hockey players come from there, because it literally just comes down to if you want to be good at hockey, you have to be on the ice. Like there's you just have to be playing, and that's when the money comes in because ice
kind of a
so
hard
expensive.
thing to simulate.
Yeah, I mean you could do a lot of off ice training.
Soccer players in the world can play on dirt and then go play on turf.
Literally,
and it's fine.
Well,
there's no equivalence for hockey.
Well, there actually is. So the reason why northern
marble floors,
pond hockey. So it's like
pond hockey, yeah.
But so you say like playing on dirt, right? Like and that kind of like helps like it simulates something that's harder than grass. Pond hockey where you don't have a Zamboni.
I think you said pond.
No, pond hockey where it's like it actually makes you a better stick handler because you got to fight through the snow a little bit more and it like makes your hands stronger. But like
you can't skate as fast.
And so it actually builds up a lot of those small muscles that you can only simulate on the ice. That's why, once again, northern Minnesota has the best hockey players because they can do that. But it's one of those things where there's that culture of hockey outside of the locker room, and then there's the in locker room culture, which is like what's Lord of the Flies would probably be the best way to describe it, where it's just a bunch of young men trying to establish who's the leader. And it's just
everyone fighting over the conch.
Literally. And it's disgusting. And it's, as Sauter would say, more smelly, probably than Lord of the Flies. Even though Lord of the Flies probably is pretty smelly. Yeah. So the whole conversation about like when people talk about a basketball locker room or a football locker room or literally or a baseball dugout or whatever, I have no comment on that. I grew up in in the just worst like set of that.
Baseball is weird because there's two different things. You have the bullpen, which is entirely
Sure.
different
Way
than
different.
the dugout.
Sure.
And like in high school, it's different because the bullpen doesn't go sit down in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Because, they don't.
They're the ones
generally
just
have
screaming all the random
It
stuff.
seems like the
pitchers and
bullpen
batters.
is more fun. It just every time they
Well,
cut to the bullpen, it seems
pitchers
like
in
they are
general-
having a way more better time.
I'll be curious how Mike feels about this, but pitchers in general are usually a very different breed of person than the position players.
Oh yeah.
Usually weirder in every possible way.
Yes.
Take things less serious in every possible way.
Yeah. You're describing my high school friend group right now. Like we had two pitchers and three
describing
position
myself.
players.
Like,
Seriously,
I'm describing my co-host. Half pitched. I pitched.
you
Part
should've-
of our relationship is that.
we went to the bat box over in a smash bar.
Yeah, I
It was
heard it went
awesome.
great.
It was a
Not
great
good.
time. I
heard
killed
it
it.
went
I
great.
had a great time. You know,
I talked
was-
about how by relative to you were fine.
yeah.
But it was enhanced by the fact that nobody else was even okay.
Josh Odson at one point goes, I hope this doesn't sound like an insult, but you're doing way better than I thought this would go. And I'm like, it kind of is, but I'll take it. At this point.
I only have my moral victory of making contact with the baseball, the fewest attempts out of all the guys that were out there in the cage.
I will say this.
So
though,
I will gladly take that.
to make
even
you
though I
guys
sucked.
to make you guys feel better about, whatever, like, I'm not feeling great about my performance because my shoulder hurts like a BITC.
Yeah, but you knew that.
It hurts.
You were also
It
like really
hurts.
revving up on the throws, and I was like, he's not gonna like
Because
that.
he's competitive. He didn't want to lose to you.
Yeah,
guys.
I mean, I'm
I saw
competitive.
it.
I wouldn't
too,
wanna
but I
lose
also
to you
know
either.
what it's like to wake up after you throw way harder than you need to, and then your arm just hurts for a
I
while.
was a
Fair.
tiny bit
And
sore
I already
last
have
night.
that at 38. I don't need to add to it because I decided to throw a baseball for a
Stupid
radar gun
Yeah.
that wasn't even accurate.
Experience stupidity. Seriously,
You'll get there someday.
This is just all the lessons that you have already
Ultimately,
learned
there
that
was-
you already knew.
There was no
I
one I
learned
was going to
yesterday
impress with this anyway. So there's that aspect.
that you were going to be impressed, or that
you weren't going to be impressed by anything that I did there. You weren't going to be like, "Oh my god, I never saw this coming." Even if I had got
No.
out there and just like smashed a bunch of home runs.
no.
or-
I mean,
Yeah,
I
but
don't
I'm
have
just
any
saying, like-
expectations for anybody really. Like,
if you put me in a situation where something's competitive, I will be very competitive. If I deem that there's no value to be gleaned out of this, it's much like when I was in math class in high
Sure.
school. I will do the bare minimum. You're not going to get a whole lot.
see, like, I don't have toxic masculinity, but I do have toxic competitiveness.
Yeah.
Like when
I
I
do too.
like when Jordan talks about the whole I don't have a gambling problem, I have
Mm-hmm.
a competition problem, I actually totally relate with him. I'm like, when I go to the casino, I don't go to the casino thinking, oh, I'm gonna make it big. And like if I lose, I'm not like, damn, I lost $100.
Sure.
I'm more like, damn, I lost.
Mhm.
Like I just lost. Or there are multiple times where I'll be like, I was in that casino for too long to walk out a loser. Like I should have just been smarter and walked out.
I would equate it to like if you and I went and played golf, I would be very competitive with that. If you and I went into Top Golf,
Oh,
I am not going to give you. I'm going to be the guy that gets the wedge and just tries to hit the 10-yard chip into the closest one
yeah.
as often as possible.
I think that's
No.
the
Either game the system
No.
or because I've lost interest 5 minutes.
You know
into
what?
it.
I agree with Mike Schaefer over here just for one thing. If I was with you and you didn't give a damn, I wouldn't give a damn.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I went with Sauter
yeah,
and Sauter gave a damn,
Very competitive.
we
then-
would be competing.
then I would
yes.
compete against
100%
Sauter.
would
That
be
definitely,
competing.
Top Golf definitely is
Yeah,
about
but if
your
we went and played
environment.
actual golf. And
There's
it's
no
like,
question.
Okay,
Yeah.
my score is going to be reflected here in future events or whatever else.
Yeah.
I'm going to care. And
Yeah.
I'm going to swear a lot.
See,
Mhm.
that's the nice thing about like the competitive notion of that is that I can be bad at golf and I can have a good time doing that with you, but I don't. It's even better that I don't need to put money down to even accentuate that. I just
no,
feel like
it's
I
It's all
just wanna
about
be
having
my-
fun.
But it's
Not really, Joey. No,
no.
There's a
No.
part fun, part
Joe,
I
you
want
want
to
to win.
I want to win.
The
Yeah.
competition is for golf, for me anyways, it's like obviously the people you play with, you want to either compete or play better than them, whatever. But it's also just yourself, like constantly.
Yeah,
You know what the best
Yeah.
version of you golfing is. You also know when you're really far away from it. And then there's I could be doing anything else, and I'm spending 4.5 hours looking like a moron shooting a 98 today.
that's a good point.
And it's 95 degrees out.
I
What an idiot I am.
I think every negative word I've said on the golf course has to do with myself.
Yeah.
and nobody else.
Yeah.
Or
no.
the wind. Those
I
are the
would
things.
I would never. Now here's what I do with my buddies.
Or the rough.
So I'll never tell my buddies like, oh, you're bad, or oh, you need to do this, or oh, you need to do that. But if I want to like mess with them, I'll just every time they hit a shot and it's bad, I'll be like, oh, it opens up down there. Oh, it
You'll
opens
be
up.
all right.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You're gonna love that one. You're gonna love that one. They go, I can't find it. I'm like, no, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be there. Don't worry. You're gonna be looking. You're
Keep
pin
going.
You're pin high. You're pin high. Keep finding it. Oh, you had to drop. Oh, that's a damn shame. That's a.
I
damn
would have
shame.
already wandered off, ignoring anything that was said to me. At that point, so
Well, that is the classic move where you hit a terrible shot, and you're in a cart, and you go, I'm gonna walk to my
Yeah.
car.
I'm
real
gonna.
thing.
Oh,
Sometimes
I've
you
done
walk
this.
with the
I'm that
club
guy.
When you top it.
Yeah.
You're like you might want
Just
a different
get going.
club, but it's like I already screwed up with this one. I'm already mad.
I'm like I hit my 5-iron 60 yards. I'm actually now I probably need a 9, but at this point the cart's all the way off at the other ball.
Don't
Now
care. I'm just gonna keep hitting.
I guess I'm punching the ball up to the green
Yeah,
here.
Doesn't matter.
That's the tough part for me though too, is that being a lefty and then having to play with buddies.
Oh yeah.
Where it's
you
like
can never borrow anyone's club. You
Yeah.
can never.
that, and like I'm gonna end up on the left side
Mhm.
of the golf course.
So you're walking.
You're gonna end up on the right side of the golf course every single time.
One of my really good friends, left-handed, we golf together a lot. He usually drives, so this isn't normally the problem. But
Okay.
if I end up driving the cart, I never put the cart in a way that's good for how he wants to hit
Yeah.
because I never think about it.
You
It doesn't
shouldn't.
make any sense to me. I
Right,
put it for
yeah.
how normal people hit,
Yeah,
not you weirdos who hit on the opposite side.
I am right-handed. I just hit.
I know,
left.
but then he's the same thing. It drives me nuts. It's like,
Then-
how do you end up hitting left-handed? You right-handed.
It was
I don't get
nice-
He throws right-handed.
It was nice growing up.
He putts right-handed and plays every other club left-handed.
Okay,
weird.
that's weird.
That's weird.
That's some
He
devil.
figured out it made him a better putter because he was doing less.
Mm.
He was
Then
able
just
to,
do less with your.
that's what you would
top
tell
hand.
yourself, but it's like a mental thing.
The one thing I do find like there is a disadvantage if you're a bad golfer being a lefty who's right-handed is that like you start swinging with one hand because your top hand, your strong hand's on the top of the club, so you forget to use your left hand and like come through. And so that's when you get like the lazy swing. So you have to like coach that out of you. But it was nice growing up because my dad was a lefty. So we would just be in a cart, two lefties in a cart. We both knew how to operate together. You know, he would always get pissed though, because he liked the cart really far away from where he swung.
Oh, okay.
And like,
I'm putting that thing right up on the ball.
Mike,
Yeah, you just
excessively
need
far away.
A couple of feet.
That's how I am. I get like about 6 feet, like not
Yeah.
even like less than 6 feet. Hit it. I hop back in the cart. He wants it like 5
I'll
yards
give you
away
about
from him.
10 inches of clearance.
You know what?
That's probably a
that
little
would piss
tight.
me off.
Yeah.
That would really piss
Yeah.
me off. And especially if you did it, because I imagine if you were to do that to me, that you're meticulous enough to know that that's too close. I know you would be I know you would be doing it on purpose. That
Probably
would
not
be
initially.
that would
If
be
you
a
were like,
great.
hey, I don't like this, then I'll probably start putting the cart wherever you want.
Are you a driver of the cart or do you like to ride?
Ooh.
in the
I
cart?
prefer to ride every time.
I prefer to drive,
I would rather ride.
but I don't like if somebody
Because there's a lot
I'm
of
not
times
gonna-
I'm just chasing after my ball by
Sure.
myself and I'm like, leave me alone. I want to just go find this.
Yeah, let me
because
take my 3 clubs.
Yeah,
I'll be off
yeah.
over
Let
here.
me grab this.
You'll see me at the green. We'll talk about the
Yeah.
7 on the
You know,
Right.
It's a great question, Mike.
Right.
I think it's very dependent on who I'm with. Like if I'm with my buddy Jason and Jason wants to drive, Jason can drive. But if I'm with my buddy Ben, there's no way on God's green earth that I'm allowing him to
Yeah,
drive.
I'd rather everyone. I'd rather not.
Really?
drive. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't. For me, it's just dependent. But you just don't want the responsibility.
No.
What goes into that? Okay,
I
that.
just would rather not have the responsibility, and to like you can adult a little bit more, feel a little better.
I guess so. I've never really thought of it that way. I guess I haven't.
Nothing
thought
wrong with adulting.
Yes. Well, that's
It's
the
like
one thing.
less thing to think about.
Yeah.
You just
just
get in the
ride,
cart and
man.
the cart takes you to
Just
where you
going.
need to go.
But I've never
You're just
I've never
going.
compromised myself to the point where I'm a danger driving a golf cart. Like
I haven't either, but I
that-
just would prefer to not have to focus on it.
Sure. Dude, that first transfusion with a hot dog at the turn is gonna hit like crack. Even though I don't know what crack hits like, it's going to hit like crack.
I'm glad we have that.
No, we do.
Yeah,
Yeah, no. Matt McMaster, not for crack. But if I were for crack, I imagine it would feel like the first transfusion in a hot dog at the turn this season.
You are for transfusions with hot dogs at the turn.
Dude. So good. There was one, somebody made like a ocean blue one, like an ocean blue, like it was Gatorade,
Hot dog.
vodka. It was Gatorade, vodka, Sprite, lemonade. And I really
what kind of Gatorade?
Blue Gatorade.
Blue Gatorade. Okay.
He called it the water hazard. I was like,
That sounds pretty good.
That's a good one. I don't want to though go to the bartender and be like, you have to mix these 6 things to make my
because
drink.
it wouldn't be the same. They wouldn't be able to do
Which hot dog hits better? The hot dog at the turn or a hot dog at like an outdoor sporting event, like a baseball game?
I think hot dog at the turn. Because I am like, when I get to the turn, I'm kind of sweaty.
Yeah.
I've burned calories.
You need a little bit of nourishment to get you through
You
the
probably need
backside.
something to eat.
Yeah.
You
need energy.
Yeah.
You know, you
They're
also
cheaper at the turn than they are at a ballpark.
Yeah.
so
also
that helps.
too, when I'm turning, I'm typically pretty upset about the 9th hole or something like that.
Yeah. Something
right?
bad had happened. So
Yeah.
you need to just take a relaxation.
I don't know how you approach it, but like I eat the hot dog before the game even starts. Like I am like right away. So I'm not mad yet.
It sort of depends. Like I'm very much someone who, like, if I can avoid paying for the stadium price, I
Yeah.
do, because
Good man.
they're
Good man.
pathetically cheap in some ways.
Yeah.
It'll be even worse with a child, I'm assuming.
gets worse.
So
Well, at least Mike with the support over there. At least they got
It does.
kids. They got kids deals though at parks,
yeah, but
right?
you're
Yeah.
still wasting money.
Do they not have kids deals anymore? Do they not hand out like the White Sox Park was great about they would give you free little tokens where it's like you can get like 2 hot dogs and like 2 drinks and fries for like $5.
We went bowling yesterday as
Oh.
a family for my wife's birthday.
Expensive now.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
And I was like, and my kids were like wanted to eat and snacks. So like,
Did you have to get bumpers?
We didn't. We should have,
Okay.
but we didn't. But it was like, yeah, they wanted some snacks to eat while we were bowling, and we were like, no, we're going to dinner after this. We're not spending this extra.
No.
Next time you're bringing your snacks in your pocket.
Not like that. Probably not like that.
You ever want your dad, or just maybe you guys could do this too? You ever want just anybody older to be like, back in my day, bring them to a bowling alley?
Oh
Okay?
yeah,
Because
it's unbelievable.
it's unbelievable how much more expensive it is now
Yeah.
to what it used to be.
It is.
There was a deal in high school that you got what was called a dare card, and
Yeah.
you could bowl 2 games a
There
day
to keep kids off
for the
drugs.
cost of shoes. And so everyone in Columbus would go to the bowling,
Yeah.
like all the high school kids would go to the
Mhm.
bowling alley
Really?
every day, pay the $2 for shoes, get 2 games of bowling.
Yeah.
I bowled all the time. Like once you had a car, you know, you
That's
got done
awesome.
with, like, we would get done
Mhm.
with baseball games, and it's 10 o'clock at night, and there would be some of us that are like, we're going to the bowling alley. We got to get our 2 games in.
That's incredible.
Or we would go to the
That is
bowling alley
awesome.
before the doubleheader started because you needed to get your bowling in. It was almost as important as the games that day.
Columbus, Nebraska, the best bowling city in
They're
America.
pretty good bowling.
They're actually pretty good.
Pretty
Yeah, is
Pretty good
Columbus?
Fremont.
Well, yeah,
Columbus and Fremont, I guess,
are great
pretty
at
good.
bowling.
I
Yeah.
think-
Well, all
I've-
their parents grew up
I've
bowling. You only gone once.
only covered state bowling one time.
Was
I-
it?
I love
is
how
fine, which is fine.
I love how I can
that
totally.
fine.
Sun Valley Lanes? Were
Yeah,
you
in
there?
Lincoln. Yeah,
It's a good spot.
Yeah.
I guess
Fun.
that is the closest thing to what I did growing up, like compared to what other people did growing up who are older than me. Is I was a bowling alley high school kid
Mm.
because we had Classic Bowl is what it was called, and we would go there, and it was a great time, and you could get really good deals, and have fun as a high schooler, if you will.
Yeah,
Pick up when I'm
Yeah,
when I'm
yeah, I know. Yeah,
The bowling alley is an awesome spot to hang out. It's a great.
I loved
it's
it.
a great fabric of a smaller community too.
I mean,
It
I think
really
I
is.
think bowling alleys need to go back to the like gritty, grimy.
grungier version.
grungier
'Cause What you
version.
described it. I
It was
been to
very.
those.
It was
Yeah.
the family.
Are you saying that? Are you saying that a
family
bowling
entertainment?
a bowling
place.
alley should smell closer to a hockey locker room than we're
Yes.
willing to admit?
Yes.
Okay.
Then
Probably have the
the
same cleanliness.
shiny new toy.
Probably have the same culture as well.
Uh,
There is no cleanliness in a hockey locker room. Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
bowling culture, I can get behind. The problem I have with bowling leagues is they play like 48 weeks of the
They
year.
do.
Like,
Dude.
it's forever.
The
That's a
problem
long
I
time.
have with bowling leagues is that they shut down the entire bowling alley. That's
Oh, that
my
is a
problem.
problem.
Can you not just take half of it or like a quarter
That's
of it? Do you need the entire alley for
And
this
it's
league?
literally every day is a bowling.
Yeah.
So you're
And then during the day, like the olds will get out and bowl. They
Yeah.
have their leagues going on at like 10 a.m.
Did-
and 2 in the afternoon.
Did you notice that I had to do the fantasy football punishment of being in a bowling alley and I couldn't leave until I bowled to 300?
Oh, that's
but,
right.
But every
for
hot
total.
But yeah. No. Until I bowled to 300 in one game. But the thing was that for every hot dog and every beer that I drank
Oh,
or ate, it took back 10 pins.
Okay.
So I had
It's not bad. You could get that
13 beers and 7 hot dogs because I'm terrible at bowling.
I was
And
gonna say, like, if you bowl
Bowl
like a
180,
180, you're not
you're
gonna
fine.
do too
Yeah,
bad.
no.
If I remember right,
But
Matt
you can't bowl a 180.
bowls like a 100.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
the
that
worst
sucks.
bowler you will ever meet. I'm quite awful.
Do you just overthrow?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you're trying to knock the pins down.
I
Yeah,
know I'm
that's the
trying to do
goal.
that. I can't pick up spares and I don't throw it hard enough. It's a whole. It's
You
a
try
whole
and
ordeal.
spin it or straight line?
I do, but then it doesn't
Just
work.
go
So
be a
then,
straight line.
yeah, I know.
I used to have like a pretty nice spin that would come in and hit the pocket
That's
the way that
sexy.
you're supposed to.
Spin
It
hitting
would hurt
the
my
pocket.
elbows so bad with how I would do it that
I
I was
bet.
finally like, at one point, start throwing it and try to cross it over so it hits the pocket at a bit of an angle.
They gave me a pin at the alley. Like they gave me
you a
Because you were
they
there
gave
that
me
long.
yeah, I was there for
Wow.
4.5
Holy
hours.
crap.
And I
That's
spent
not
like
even that long.
I was
for
there
some
I
people.
was there at 4.5 hours. I spent like $150.
Well, that's probably what it is.
That's
and they just started giving me games for free, like
because they're like, we just want you
just
out
outta
of here.
seriously. And I was like, can I get a pin? And they were like, yeah. And I wrote down my score, and we all signed it. It was nice. It was great.
You would ask for a pin.
Why? What do you mean? I would ask for a pin? Why?
Why
If you
is
were
that
there,
not on your desk?
it's over in my room right now. It's over in my apartment. Actually, the guy I was at Horseshoe Casino, and I was walking out, and the guy who like operated the bowling alley that day saw me, goes, Matt, and I go, I totally forgot your name, but I know your face. And he was like, you were at the bowling alley forever.
You're the bowling.
Wow.
You're the bowling guy. So, all righty, great crossover, guys.
Right.
That was powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It's Final Four weekend, baby. Let's get into it here on Middays with Matt. Coming up next on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call.
Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt live and rolling here on the 1620 The Zone radio network. A Good Friday edition of
I see what you did there.
Middays with Matt. A play on words, but also an acknowledgement for those who practice. Today is a very benchmark day. All the lives of people out there. So, Good Friday edition here of Middays with Matt. We're going to try and make it a great Friday of radio here on the 1620 The Zone and 97.7 The Zone Radio Network. This is one of my favorite weekends of sports. I love the Final Four weekend.
Let's
it's just
go.
you can't. Here's a weird thing that I like. I like it when sports are played in venues that host other sports.
Do you like basketball in a football arena?
I love basketball in a football arena.
Whoa.
I don't. Okay.
This is a bizarre. You are in the minority, right?
I don't care. I'm in the minority in a lot of discussions in terms of sports.
Okay.
I mean, that has never affected. Come on. You've been hosting me with 3 months. Has it ever affected me that I might be in the minority of a discussion?
I know you don't care about that.
I mean, some people might say that is what I love. I love being on the other side.
There's
of
a
these
large segment of the populace that
I don't care.
for the glory days of yesteryear.
I'm sorry. I'm not the type of guy that wants basketball to be played in a 4,000 stinky high school gym. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, you're not a bull no. You're not a bull guy. You don't love the game. See, I already need to be in the TNC chair. All right. I like basketball in a football stadium. Here's the thing. For the people who are like, oh my God, you barely can see, or you're so far away, or like, the angles are wrong or whatever. Well, you know what? If you're so far away and you don't like the angles, no one's telling you to go to the game. You can just watch it on TV. And from a watching it on TV perspective,
I would never go to Indianapolis. Thank you. I will stay at home.
It's a fine stadium. It's a fine city, really. Isn't it kind of, you know what? Shout out Indianapolis.
Generic as hell.
Shout out Indianapolis for being like, you know what? There's nothing interesting about our city, but we are going to make it the best hosting city in the United States.
They do sort of embrace They're
like, we are going to have all the hotels and all of the stadiums, and we are going to invest so much into R&D to make sure that we can make this one Lucas Oil Stadium into anything we potentially can make it into.
Look, we know we're vanilla ice cream, but there's a lot of people that would love vanilla ice cream.
So, well, that was a great, I have an opinion the other day where someone said we need to stop calling simple things vanilla because vanilla is a more complex flavor than people give it credit for. Vanilla isn't simple within its own right. First off, I couldn't disagree more. I have vanilla ice cream. It tastes very simple. I'm not saying I don't like vanilla ice cream. I'm saying I wouldn't have vanilla ice cream.
There's also a lot of variations of vanilla. You have vanilla, you have French vanilla, you have vanilla bean.
Okay, but I'm just talking about vanilla. Mm-hmm. If you're adding adjectives to the vanilla, then immediately to me, it's no longer vanilla.
I would agree with that statement.
It's vanilla with a twist. Mm-hmm. With the twist, then doesn't make it vanilla anymore. You're adding flavor to it.
Yeah.
There's more complex flavors in ice cream with strawberry, chocolate, mint chocolate chip, Rocky Road. They always call the caramel chocolate one. They call it like the turtle flavor or whatnot. Anyway, yes, Indianapolis, a very vanilla city, but yet they will be hosting the Final Four this year. And yeah, I do like the aesthetic. I like seeing all of the people. I like seeing how big the arena, the stadium is. I like it. Okay. I think the angles are fine. It makes it look like a big deal. And the Final Four is a very, very big deal. And it's going to be two great, great games. I cannot stress to you enough. Yes, we are getting to a point where people look at these two matchups and they go, well, Arizona and Michigan, that's the pseudo national championship. Like, that's kind of the attitude that I'm getting on social media of like, Yeah, the UConn Illinois game is great and fun and everything like that. But like, whoever wins the Arizona Michigan game is probably going to end up winning the national championship. I don't care. UConn Illinois is going to be a fascinating basketball game.
You've heard a lot of people zagging on that take this week that Michigan Arizona is the de facto national championship game.
I'm not going to zag. I think it's the de facto.
I think it's probably the case.
Don't get me wrong. I could see Illinois beating one of the two teams. I could see it happen. Would I put my money on it to happen? Money line? No. If you were giving me the option of like, you could put money on whoever, I would put money that the winner of the Arizona Michigan game will go ahead and be the winner of the national championship.
I mean, we'll get into it later, but if it's Illinois Michigan, it's more of a toss up, right? Dan Hurley's kind of a psychopath. Anything can happen when you let a psychopath into the national championship game.
Great question, Josh. I really don't think UConn could beat either Michigan or Arizona.
I don't think they could either. But I think if you let a psychopath into the national championship game, anything can happen.
That is a good point. Have you seen now that like Fanta and him did like the head bump, the head rub thing together? It's now like a signature.
Oh, he's trying to make it a thing.
He's trying to make it a thing.
See, the guy was right not to team me up because I do it with everybody.
Now I think unintentionally, it's like, hey, give me a Hurley.
He's worked himself into a shoot.
Yes, he has worked himself into a shoot. That's what the show is all about, working ourselves into shoots. All right. I actually did listen to a podcast yesterday about some work shoots, very famous in pro wrestling. I actually had by the way, you didn't hear this. I had a take that we should have a hard and fast rule at 50 years old for wrestlers that you just automatically retire. Once you hit 50, we're done. Now, Brian Blade of the Midwestern Wrestling Association, where I've worked with the MWA before and I've done things with them, he's about to turn 50. And he wanted to now wrestle me on his birthday to prove that 50-year-olds still got it. I first want to put it out there. Look, Brian is a very big man.
Yes.
And he would kick my ass. And my shoulder hurts a lot yesterday from being in a batting cage. So
this is cash, Brian. What do you need? What do you need from me?
That's like half their gate, Josh.
To make this happen.
He wants to wrestle me on his birthday. And I politely, respectfully decline. Okay. I love Brian. Brian's great. I will put a caveat in here. I will put a little asterisk. I'm not going to limit the work rate of independent wrestlers. Okay. I know better. So if you're on the indies, you can wrestle however long that you want. Okay. But when we're talking about linear television, once you hit 50, we're done. We're over. And this came in lieu of Chris Jericho returning to AEW. And he should have stopped wrestling 5 years ago. So there you go.
His chest is getting more and more concave. I'm worried about him.
It's like somebody keeps taking a pitching wedge to his sternum. It's like he's got his chest looks like a municipal golf course at the end of August. That's what his chest looks like.
I saw a photo of him with Wayne Knight one time, who played Newman on Seinfeld. And
Newman!
What's his name in Space Jam? And Wayne Knight shouted, "I'm fixing a divot." That was a long walk for not a great joke.
No,
it was for me and you. It wasn't for the audience.
And having to pretend who Wayne Newton is. But you know what?
Wayne Newton and Wayne Knight are two different people. I'm sorry. I believe I misspoke.
Anyway, do you agree with that, by the way, or am I wrong? We could just move on.
What?
That 50 years old, you got to retire from pro wrestling?
Boy, that would certainly lop off a lot of careers. I mean,
not really. Careers that needed to be lopped off. Did we really need the last 10 years of Ric Flair?
Generally, I believe you are correct.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm also correct, too, in saying that UConn at Illinois is going to be a fascinating game. And so is UConn versus Michigan. I think that the Illinois-UConn game brings a lot of... They're two teams that play offense in a very similar style. They play offense at a very similar pace, but at a very different style. They do it completely different. There's also some Nebraska comparisons to be made when talking about the UConn versus Illinois matchup. So we will talk about that. Also, too, a rematch from a game that happened in November, but yet a very, very different Illinois team, considering the fact that Keaton Wagler is Keaton Wagler now, and he wasn't all the way back then on Black Friday. That Arizona-Michigan game, too, is going to be great. I mean, it's just going to be like, think of your favorite heavyweight boxing match of all time. Think of your just favorite prize fight. That's just what it's going to be. It's two incredibly constructed rosters that, if we are starting a new era of jumbo college basketball, these two teams would be the poster children of that. Which, talking about jumbo college basketball, a very big name has hit the transfer portal. Flory Badunga of Kansas will go to the portal now.
Well,
he is mocked in ESPN's latest mock draft to go 44th overall in the second round. So Badunga will kind of test the waters in terms of where he might be in the NBA draft, and if he thinks he's high enough to be selected, he will go to the NBA draft. But if he opts to not go to the draft, he will enter the portal, where he will be one of the most coveted players in the portal. We have talked about it at nauseum at this point with multiple people. It seems like the entirety of the country is going to be looking for power forward centers and a playmaking point guard. Badunga was third this season in rebounding in the Big 12, averaged 13.3 points per game and 9 rebounds. He was 6'10", 235 pounds. Once again, Bill Self, even though he decided he's not going to retire, probably is like, God, I hate this job. Just being honest. I think Bill Self legitimately dislikes what he does, but he doesn't want to give it up. You know, I think he's like a lot of unfortunately, Americans. It was like, I don't really like this job. I'm not really enjoying it too much, but I got to do it at this point. I'm too in deep. You know, it's kind of like, I mean, I don't want to expose too much, but it's like, you know, you have parents that are close to retirement. They're like, yeah, I'm sick and tired of this workplace, but I only got 2 more years before I get my pension. Yeah. You know, I'm
sticking it out.
I might as well just stick it out. It seems like that's what Bill Self is doing, even though he doesn't have to. He can just retire and go to the golf course, just like Greg McDermott is retiring and going to the golf course, but not before his team makes a run at the crown. A big win yesterday for the Creighton Blue Jays against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. A slow start in the first half gets the heat turned on in the second half. Nick Graves, what a performance. The Creighton men's basketball team is going to take on the West Virginia Mountaineers on Saturday, tomorrow, which, if Darren DeVries wasn't the head coach of Indiana, do you know how awesome that would be?
Wow.
If it was D-Rock versus Mac. If D-Rock won, he would have been the one to retire Mac.
That would have been a real Shawn Michaels, I'm sorry, I love you moment.
Yes! Yes, it would have. It would have been.
Brought it back to Ric Flair!
Seriously.
Woo!
We are going full circle today on this show, on a great edition of Middays with Matt, might I add. But
got some great guests today.
Got some great guests. Look at Josh Hodson getting me on track at 12 o'clock. Marty Cordero of the Omaha Storm Chasers. Their opening weekend. Their opening home weekend is coming up here, so we will have Marty Cordero in studio at 12 o'clock. As always, at 11:30, Brian Christopherson of Huskers 24/7 will join us. And at 1 o'clock, our least favorite guest of the week, who, for whatever reason, gets the most time out of anybody on this show, Austin Jacobson.
Well, as a child, he has the most free time. Adults are working. Marty couldn't be here for as long as Austin because Marty has a job. He has to work.
We were at the Jet Award. By the way, Austin does have a job. Okay.
Does he?
In comparison to Marty, what they do is, you know, sticks and stones. But I saw Marty at the Jet Award yesterday.
I saw him too. I didn't get to talk to him because the man was a blur.
What do you mean? He was just in and out.
You know, it's Marty Cordero. Everybody wants to say hello. Everybody wants to kiss the ring. I didn't have an opportunity because every time I turned around, he was in a different part of the room. I couldn't find him.
Is that why people were looking at me funny when I wasn't kissing the ring of Marty Cordero?
That's right.
And instead of I was making fun of him instead.
Absolutely. Bold move by you.
Congratulations to Michael Severe. It was a hell of an event yesterday at the Jet Award Gala, talking to a lot of our friends there, a lot of people in our industry, our colleagues around us. It was an incredible event. The chicken piccata, absolutely phenomenal. The green beans were a little bit underdone, but still, the dessert yesterday, out of this world. We had a chocolate mousse, a chocolate caramel mousse inside of a chocolate cup. It was, it was something else. Michael Severe put on a great event. Caden Wegen, the Iowa Hawkeye and former Iowa Western Reaver, was there. We hung out with Caden. We hung out with Coach Stroh. We hung out with a lot of our friends. Had a great time at the Jet Award Gala. I had somebody come up to me and tell me, and this person who was talking to me had been there from the beginning. And he said to me, every year, man, this thing just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It just keeps growing. And it's incredible to see. They were at the Steel House yesterday in Omaha. It was a phenomenal venue. So congratulations to Michael. Congratulations to the Jet Award Foundation, raising money for kids to go to school and work in the trades. And you know, the I don't want to call it the catchphrase, because I just think that's a lack of a better word, but the slogan, at least, one of the slogans, at least for the Jet Award Gala, is ending generational poverty, and putting kids in a position, in their best position, to go ahead and create generational wealth. And so it was such a great time yesterday, a great gala. Hey, Jamar Mosey, man, went up on that podium and gave a super impressive speech yesterday at the Jet Awards. I just had to put that out there. Mosey, obviously, his son, Isaiah Mosey, a running back for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Jamar is an assistant tight ends coach and has been in and around the program for a little bit now. And, everything you kind of read about and everything you hear about with Jamar Mosey is about his ability to connect with recruits and his ability to connect with people. And it really stems from him being a longtime high school football coach and his ability to just connect with young men on a personal level. He spoke for about, what was that, like 7-8-ish minutes yesterday at the gala, and it was impressive, man. It was impressive. I was getting up to go to the bathroom, and then they brought him up to the stage, and I go, okay, wait, let me sit here and what he has to say for a minute or two. And I just sat there the entire time. And I was just watching him. I was just captivated by him. So a really impressive speech from Jamar Mosey. EJ Barthel was there as well. Husker running back coach shook his hand. Big hand. EJ Barthel, let me just say this right now. Impressive handshake.
Okay.
Impressive.
Important.
So you got to establish yourself, right? And the best way he is the second strongest handshake I've ever had outside of Lance Briggs.
Okay.
Lance Briggs is like a borderline Hall of Fame linebacker. Okay. Being second place to that is pretty impressive. So a great gala from the Jet Award Foundation and Michael Severe. He will be here on Monday hosting the show. For me, I was supposed to be on a flight right after this program today to go back home to Chicago. It's my birthday on Easter, so I was going to celebrate it with the family. Canceled. The weather here in Omaha is brutal, and the weather in Chicago somehow is even worse. So we will be on a flight tomorrow.
So there will be a crossover.
There will be a crossover today, but Michael Severe will be filling in for me on Monday. So it should be a great show there. Mondays with Michael, and then a Tuesday interview with Michael, where I will personally give him all of my thoughts on the Jet Award Gala and what he might have to do better. So we have a great show ahead of you today. We will talk about the Crown. We will talk about UConn versus Illinois. We're going to talk about Michigan versus Arizona. We're also going to touch on, as I mentioned with Flory Badunga, entering the transfer portal from Kansas. We're getting more and more transfer portal news in basketball, man. I think that, football kind of hit the ground running with the transfer portal. Like right away, it was boom, we were gone. And I feel like basketball has kind of taken some more baby steps. It hasn't been as much of a full sprint, at least from a compensation perspective. This year was kind of a tipping point where you're hearing about the $22 million rosters. But I even think more so was a tipping point, Josh Hotson, that we saw teams like Nebraska, teams like Iowa have so much success with lower budgets. And I think that teams now are figuring out the types of players and the archetypes of players that win you basketball games, not only in the months to get you to March, but March in general. And so we are seeing kind of markets be set. We're also getting reports on what budgets are going to look like. On3 released an article about the magic number.
Oh, hello.
What is the magic number? Where do you have to be? Where do you have to be from a financial standpoint in order to compete at the top of the heap in college basketball? I have some thoughts. On3 is right and On3 is wrong.
It can't be both.
No, they can be both. That's what J. Robert Oppenheimer said in that one movie.
Oppenheimer?
Yeah, he was like, how can it be true? How can both be true? It can't, but it is. It's paradoxical. On3 is right and On3 is wrong. What is competitiveness, right? On3 is correct that if you want to win a national championship, there is a very large number that you kind of have to be around. But if you
want me in public, send your budget.
Dude, we need a FOIA. It's been a minute since we got a good FOIA. I found one yesterday that was about operational softball costs, but then I would have had to pay for it. I really didn't want to spend $3.99 a month to get more softball, to get another FOIA subscription. We already have one, okay, that I barely even use to begin with, as we have a call here. Oh, back-to-back days on the Prairie Flower Zone Casino Hotline. Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. I just got to read the sign.
Read the sign. There's two of them for whichever way your head is pointed.
Have you ever done that before, where you make a mistake once that you've never made previously,
Absolutely.
and then you continue to make that mistake over and over and over again? That's me in the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. But
Middays with Matt.
Do you know what's not a mistake? Going to Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. And what definitely isn't a mistake is going to the hotline and talking to a Creighton basketball fan after they won in the Crown. Andrew, winning games in April is all that matters, is what Husker fans said last season. What says you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Rack them.
Mark that down.
Now, I will say it was interesting what you brought up. How much money does it take to compete?
It's a tease, Andrew. It's called a tease. I'm not going to tell you the number until we get to the segment.
I'm going to give you my number.
Oh, okay. I'll take your number.
I'm going to say 8 to 10 million.
It's a good guess. That's a good guess.
You'll have to get two really good guys, I feel, to be legit, a point guard and a center. So that wraps up about 4 million to 3.5 million, around that range.
Sure. You're a teacher. You're good at math. So where's our other 4 to 6 million going?
Well, that will go to, you'll have a couple good players, and then you'll have your role players.
Yeah.
Looking at 2 stars, 2 decent players, and then some role players. 2 good players.
Okay. That's your guess. 8 to 10 million.
8 to 10. I think you can be competitive at 8, but if you really want to go for the gusto, you have to be 10 or over.
Well, I think you can be competitive at like 5, but I don't know if you can be consistently elite at that number.
Yeah, some outlier at 4 million or 5, but
yeah, like what, like that's the conversation, Andrew. It's like what is considered competitive? Like it.
Okay, I'll ask you this question.
Sure.
How much money? Who are the 2 most important positions to pay?
Oh, great question. I would say I would say a center. I would say like a rim protecting center. And then I would go ahead and say not only just, a lot of people say playmaking point guard. I'll go one more above. I would say the most important position to pay would be a guard that can just put the ball on the floor and create his own shot and create shots for others. Like I know that a lot of people go, oh, floor general playmaking, but I also, if I'm investing a lot of money, want my point guard or guard in general to be able to score at will, especially when you're getting into these close games with 4 minutes to go. You need to have that guy where you give him the ball and you go win us the game, young man. So I would say that's your two most important positions. A, stud guard who can create his own shot and create other shots. And then also you got to have that 7-footer, 6'11" guy. Preferably two.
I think this is going to be a great show with this conversation.
I agree, Jason. Thank you so much. Andrew, with already a stamping approval of this Friday edition of Middays with Matt, you know what? We're going to give the people what they want. We're going to have that NIL conversation coming up next here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We're in a good mood today just because we're coming off of the heels of what was a great event yesterday at the Jet Award Gala at the Steelhouse in Omaha. Michael Spear put on one hell of an event. Congratulations to Caden Legion, who ended up winning the Jet Award back-to-back Jet Award winner. Great stuff. Hung out with Stro yesterday. You know what? The guy who was the MC for the event for the Jet Award Gala, didn't really know him too much, but went up.
Up and coming talent.
Up and coming talent. I shook his hand. I go, hey, you're gonna make it, man. You're gonna make it.
He told some very funny jokes.
Kinda. You know, some were flat. Some were flat. Some were pretty good. But I told him, I went up to him. I go, man, you're gonna do something one day. you're gonna do it, man. So anyway, it was great. It was a great award ceremony yesterday. Congratulations to Michael. He will be in studio on Monday filling in for me, as I will be coming off of the heels of having a phenomenal Easter. Underrated holiday.
Underrated holiday.
Underrated
okay.
holiday. I think that
Show your work.
When you're younger and you get the Easter basket and you get like smaller gifts, it's kind of like minor league Christmas in a way, you know, where it's like you're not getting the Christmas presents under the tree and you're not getting nearly the volume, but you still get some high quality Easter presents. And then from the ages of like 14 to 20, you don't really know what to do with it, right? Like you're kind of out, like you're too young to get those presents, but like, you know, you're just going to mass and then maybe like having a nice little dinner with your family. Like it's fine. It's a day. But once you turn 21 and you can start going to brunch and you can start hanging out with your parents and you're a little bit
ripping mimosas.
Yes.
That's,
and Bloody
that's
Marys.
when Easter really comes into form.
Yes. Easter really, from ages 1 to about 12, Easter is mini Christmas.
All right.
Then from 13 to 20, you don't really know what to do with it. And then when you're 21, you go, let's get some mimosas for the table. Bottomless? It's bottomless today?
I don't think you're wrong.
I'm not saying that's the spirit of the holiday.
It is definitely
It's
not.
not the spirit of the holiday. Now, we're
all human, though.
We definitely are celebrating because he has risen, right? That is a cause for
A
celebration.
mournful celebration.
But
a somber celebration.
But I'm just from a societal perspective. It becomes a better holiday. All right.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably true with a lot of holidays.
No, I think Christmas rocks no matter what age you are.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
I think Christmas is
I mean,
on it from start to finish.
Rip
Christmas
a couple
is there.
mules and Arbor Day really
Well,
it's a lot better.
I guess you can make the argument that if I just got drunk for every holiday would be better. But I'm saying
every Memorial Day I have a screwdriver drinking contest and it really spices things up. I'm the reason for the season, but
I'm not. You can't just say you get drunk and every holiday is better. I'm saying in the spirit of the holiday, what you could do with the holiday. Screwdriver drinking competition for Arbor Day, though, would be like that should be a bit of Middays with Matt. Every single like fake holiday, we just get hammered to do radio.
When is Arbor Day?
Great question. I have no idea.
Bad Nebraska.
I just wait for
it's April 24th.
No
it's
way.
a Friday. We could do this.
We could totally do this
because it's not so far away that we'll forget.
We're announcing it. Our Arbor Day celebration. Middays with Matt will be celebrating Arbor Day better than anybody you have ever met before. Okay. We are going. Arbor Day's a joke holiday, not here on Middays with Matt.
Not in this state either.
Okay. Is it actually a big deal in the state?
Well, the guy was from Nebraska who started Arbor Day.
Mr. Arbor's from Arbor Day?
Yeah. He's a Nebraskan.
I did not know that. You're saying this with a concerned tone. Okay, I'll take note of it.
You know, we had all those dignitaries in town last night. They might still be listening this morning.
What?
I just want them to make sure.
I didn't know that the guy who made Arbor Day was from Nebraska.
Middays with Matt loves and supports Nebraska. I was a mayoral vote getter.
You almost stood up when they said elected officials, please rise. You were thinking about it. Also, too, you can't wear a gaudy ring to an event and then complain about clapping at the event.
It's so heavy with
but
that
you're
big
the one
title ring.
You're the one who chose to wear it.
When else am I going to wear it? I'm not going to wear it to a Friday show.
Wear it around here. Third round.
I have a lot of them.
Doug in Idaho. My daughter works for Arbor Day Foundation. Be careful, Matt.
Exactly.
We're celebrating it on
means
April 24th.
a lot to these people.
April 24th. Yeah, it means these people. It means a lot to everybody. And we're going to make sure that people know how much it means to us on April 24th. When we celebrate it here on
I've
Middays with
written
Matt.
it down.
All right. We will go above and beyond when it comes to celebrating Arbor Day. And we're going to go above and beyond when it comes to previewing you what the transfer portal in college basketball is going to look like. A great article was written yesterday from On3 detailing some spending in name, image, and likeness. Now, my first takeaway from this article was essentially not what is the point of rev share. That's not the exact point, but it also was like College Sports Commission clearly just doesn't have any power. And the way that this article is written in terms of third-party NIL and the entire point of the NIL clearinghouse was to essentially stop the third-party pay-for-play thing, like that aspect of NIL. That's why the clearinghouse was made. Clearly, teams don't care about that. They're not threatened by that because a lot of this money. Now, granted, a portion of this money that they're talking about that's going to be spent on college basketball teams will be spent through rev share. But when they're talking about getting you to a certain point, putting you in kind of that what they call the golden range, that comes a lot from supplementary NIL that seems like it doesn't really coexist with the point of the clearinghouse. And so once again, I will mention it almost every day on this show. The arbitration case between the 18 Nebraska football players and the College Sports Commissions and NIL Go, the clearinghouse, is a massive, massive deal. And whatever ruling that is really going to dictate where we're at when it comes to the money and the spending and how college sports works from a financial perspective with the rev share dollars included. So much so, by the way, that Fred Hoiberg yesterday in Robin Washet's phenomenal article about what the finances of Nebraska basketball is going to look. Fred said, it's kind of a gray area right now. Like, we're figuring it out, but we don't really fully know what it's gonna completely look like. And that arbitration case is going to go a long way in telling us what it's going to look like. Now, On3 went ahead and they reached out to a lot of sources, and they kind of essentially revealed how much teams were making last season, and how much teams are projected to spend next season. They've called, so here's a couple of quotes. They've called the golden price point. Okay. Golden price point, meaning the price point you're going to have to be around to win a national championship, is $12 million to $15 million. That's the golden price point, $12 to $15 million roster. And this article is right in a lot of ways, but it's wrong in some ways. This article is right in saying Arizona spent $10 million or more on their roster. Michigan reportedly spent $10 million or more on their roster. Illinois has spent $10 million or more on their roster. UConn is right around that mark on how much they spent on their roster this season. If you're going to compete for a national championship, if you're going to win a national championship, if you're just looking off of stats and reports, they're correct. If you're going to compete at the very highest level and win a national championship, you need to be around that range. You need to be in the 8-figure range to accomplish that. Now, this article does kind of give off the idea that if you're not spending $8 to $10 million or $12 to $15 million, that you're just dead in the water and you can't compete at all. That I don't subscribe to. Like that I'm not jiving, because Kentucky spent literally 4 times as much, 5 times as much as Nebraska did on the roster last year. Nebraska was 3 seeds better, right? Teams that, according to this article, that spent over $10 million last year were Kentucky, a 7 seed, Tennessee, a 6 seed, St. John's, a 5 seed, UNC, a 6 seed, Arkansas, a 4 seed. Nebraska basketball spent way less than all of those teams, and they either equal to Arkansas or a higher seed to those other teams. So, to give off that you can't be competitive in any facet without getting to the $8 million range, I disagree with wholeheartedly. I think you can definitely spend $6 million, $7 million if you have the right culture, if you have the right fit, if you have the right coaching, if you have the right player development. You can spend less than that and make the Sweet 16, make the Elite Eight. Hey, look at Iowa, man. They weren't even remotely close to spending $10 million last season on their roster. Both Nebraska and Iowa were near the bottom in terms of teams that were spending in the Big Ten, and they went to the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight respectively. So to say that there's a push and pull, you're going to win a national championship, you got to spend $10 million. I agree with that. You look at the teams that are in the tourney right now, you look at the NBA talent that they have, the size that they have, the type of players that they're buying, right? We're talking about right now in terms of what the transfer portal market is going to look like. What has been the buzzword? Rim protecting, stretch fours, point guards. What do these teams have in spades? Point guards, rim protectors, and stretch fours outside of Arizona, who doesn't have stretch four. But what they don't have in a stretch four, they have an insane amount of NBA talent, an insane amount of size, and an insane amount of length. So I think that this article details greatly, what teams are reportedly going to be in that range and, who's investing a lot in NIL and investing a lot in basketball. And I think it's college basketball is having a renaissance right now. These numbers continue to come out from the regular season, from the postseason. The quality of the basketball is just getting better and better. The fan interest is just getting higher and higher. It seems like, too, and this is kind of like a Gen Z thing, but the engagement and exodus of more and more college basketball-based social media accounts that are gaining popularity and that are gaining engagement. There are so many more college basketball content creators that have exploded and have grown over the past couple of seasons because the popularity of the sport is going up. And now you are going to have more fan bases and more athletic departments investing in basketball, paying these players more. And you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. And NIL has sown the idea that if you are a college basketball player, you don't have to jump at the NBA the very first time you need to go. You can bide your time. You can wait. You can develop, and you can gain money. You can earn money while you become a better basketball player. 10 years ago, college basketball players did not have that option. They did not have the option to stay back, earn money, and, just continue to play college basketball and earn a living that way. If you were in a mock draft, you were going. You were gone. See you later. Now you can sit back, and it's only raised the quality of the sport. Now, it's raised the quality of the Power Five aspect of college basketball, and I think that always needs to be acknowledged because, yes, unfortunately, you're seeing this transfer portal, and Jeff Goodman reported a couple of days ago that it was already 800 players, and it hasn't even officially opened. You got to think that number has gone up exponentially even more. It's probably in the 1,000 mark at this point in terms of player portal, and it hasn't even opened in 4 days. You're seeing a lot of all Summit League team and all Sun Belt team and all Missouri Valley Conference team, and unfortunately for these mid majors, their top players who in the past would have stayed, fostered a veteran and foundational and cultured built team that might make a magical run of the NCAA tournament. Those guys are going to Power 5 schools and earning a lot of money. But put more eyes on the sport, and it's definitely raised the quality of the sport. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, though. The teams that are expected to spend over $10 million next season on their rosters include Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Florida, Arizona, St. John's, UNC, Auburn, Duke, Cincinnati, Vandy, Texas, and UConn. There are two teams I left out that are very interesting to me because it's part of the reasons I love college sports. LSU is expected to spend $10 million or more on their roster next season, which got going through the LSU finances, man. The buyout for Brian Kelly, the buyout to literally get Lane Kiffin out of Ole Miss. Then you add in what Lane Kiffin's salary is at LSU. Then you add in The fact they had to pay all this money for the roster, which was reported a couple of days ago, they expected to spend $25 million on their roster. They ended up spending closer to $40 million on their roster. Then they go ahead and they get Will Wade. Then on top of that, now apparently they're committed to spend $10 million. I don't know where this I guess I do. It's from Raising Cane's, but you got to think that there's more than just chicken tender money that's funding this entire operation that is spending, bango bucks and all this stuff. I mean, LSU is operating like it's kangaroo court. It's kind of crazy. I mean, I'm just saying, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, but anyway, and they still have a great comment here from the 8051 on the YouTube chat. LSU's rev share numbers are also split like 70 to football, 25 to hoops, and 5 to women's hoops or something like that. Women's hoops is still a very important entity for LSU basketball or for LSU athletics as well. But they're spending a ton of money. And now here's my favorite part of this all. So LSU is spending $10 million on Will Wade and investing in his NIL ventures and trying to make LSU basketball competitive once again. A team that was surprising to see on this list, at least from my perspective, NC State, with Justin Garvey as their new head coach, is going to apparently spend over $10 million on their basketball roster. They have the means to do it, but it's also, I love the spike. Wade left us to LSU, that son of a gun. He's getting $10 million. You know what, Justin? We're paying you $12.75 million over 5 seasons. We're going to give you a $10 million roster. That's what we're going to do, which means that NC State might end up having players, or it just maybe one player on that team that makes more than their coach, which is, I mean, still like we have players who are making a lot of money in college sports. I don't think we've gotten that too often where we just straight up have players making more than coaches. It doesn't happen in college football unless there's somebody making, is there somebody making more than $5 million on Michigan's roster? I don't know, but that's kind of funny that NC State is bucking up that type of money. Here's the $8 to $10 million range. Louisville, Texas A&M, Iowa, St. Louis, Providence, BYU, Virginia, Washington, all rumored to be in the $8 to $10 million range. We found out yesterday through Robbins reporting that Nebraska expects to be in that $8 million range, but not necessarily in on this article. We had this conversation about Ben McCollum, Josh Hodson. What do I always say? M equals what?
Money equals momentum. Momentum equals money.
Thank you. And I told you over and over again, look, the Kansas job, probably the only job he would leave for. But if he keeps getting the money from Iowa, he grew up in Iowa. Iowa is apparently his dream job. If he keeps getting that financial support, if he keeps getting that athletic department backing, if he keeps getting that fan interest, why even abandon it? Why even leave it? Got a really great setup. First season went to the Elite Eight. Now he's going to be given a very, very big increase in terms of what he is going to be spending. Talking about jobs also too across the country. Jeff Goodman talked to Dusty May yesterday about the UNC job. That's the funny thing. We're at the Final Four, but that's kind of the hot button topic, which goes to show you once again the poll and attention that UNC draws. The fact that we have a Final Four between 4 elite basketball teams, and yet we're still talking about that head coaching vacancy and asking coaches about that head coaching vacancy before their teams play in the Final Four. Dusty May said, when asked about the North Carolina job, he said simply, look, last year I was asked about the vacancy at my alma mater. And all I told you was, I'm just focused on the job that I currently have. I'm going to tell you the same thing. I'm not going to worry about a job that isn't mine when it comes to North Carolina. Man, if you're an Indiana fan and you're hearing this, like my alma mater that I'm never going to coach for because I'm in a very good situation here in Michigan, and then you see how the season went for D-Brock in his first go-around at Bloomington, not making the NCAA tournament. And then, might I add here, Josh Hodson?
Please.
All of the school names that I read that are going to be spending anywhere from $8 to $10+ million. Where's Indiana at?
Yeah, I didn't hear their name.
By the way,
I'm not doing a thing. I am literally realizing I didn't hear
by the
you
way,
say their
I'm
name.
telling you right now, I went in the On3 article and I controlled F and I searched Indiana.
I have to be missing.
I literally was like, why aren't they here? Like what do you mean? Hey, Iowa's spending more than Indiana in basketball. What type of cuckoo world do we live in that the Hawkeyes are investing more than the Hoosiers, apparently? Insane. Hey, you think Indiana's going to have a quiet spring? Back to the Indiana basketball is the Nebraska football, the college basketball world. Which, by the way, did you see Italy lost a World Cup? They're not going to be in the World Cup for like the third straight time. They're the Nebraska of international soccer, some people are saying. Oh, the glory back in the day in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And then they have not been able to make the World Cup the last 3 times. We also have a Glenn Powell of the week that's coming up.
Glenn Powell of the week. Okay.
Because
interesting bit. I like it.
Well, because I keep telling you over and over again, I'm too Powelled. I'm getting too Glenn Powell.
Powell-pilled?
I think people in the 90s were getting a little bit too Powelled as well, but it was a different one. I'm sorry, I'm reading that book. We're on the chapter about Colin Powell. But anyway, I keep seeing Glenn Powell too much too. I keep comparing people to him. I have a Glenn Powell of the week. I will tell you who it is. It is somebody in sports. It's somebody who actually will be at Augusta. And by the way, if you want to get in on the action at Augusta next weekend, don't forget to sign up for McMaster's matchup on 1620thezone.com. Here's how it works. You go to 1620thezone.com. You register to be in McMaster's, my matchup, where we will put you in a pool. And let's say we have 80 people who registered to be in McMaster's matchup. Only 20 of those names are going to be selected. Each name will then be matched up with a golfer. Okay. If your golfer ends up winning the big tournament happening in Georgia from Thursday to Sunday of next week, if your golfer assigned to you wins, you get $250, ladies and gentlemen. Some cold hard cash for doing nothing. Now, some people have been asking, Matt, 20 golfers, what if none of those golfers end up winning the Masters? Don't worry. One of the golfers is the field. So we got 19 specific people that will be assigned. There will be the 19 guys with the best chance at winning the Masters. And then the 20th, quote unquote, golfer will be the 20th golfer will be the field who could potentially win the tournament in Augusta next week. So there you go. McMaster's matchup. Don't forget to sign up for that on 1620thezone.com. Coming up next, Brian Christopherson of Huskers 247 joins us.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We got some funny tweets coming in on the Zone Twitter feed, which is powered by Liquid Trucking. Pesky Blues, our guy. Thank you so much for sponsoring the Twitter feed. We'll read them after we get to a bunch of silly tweets on the Zone Twitter feed powered by Liquid Trucking, but nothing silly about our next guest from Huskers 247, the man, the myth, the legend. It's Brian Christopherson, BC. How are you, my friend, on this very gloomy, not doomy, but gloomy Friday?
I'm doing well, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. But it's been a good week. You know, Friday you can go back, you can reflect and say it's been a good week. It's been a good week, Brian Christopherson. How about you? Has it been a good week for you? It's been. Where are we at in terms of the sleep scale? You're out of spring football is done. Basketball is now done. Are you getting some rest?
Oh, I'm fine. Yeah. I had some bags under my eyes for a couple days after the spring game, but I'm back at it. I slept till 9 o'clock this morning, which I hesitate to even say out loud on the radio. But so I'm fine. Yeah, I got like 10 hours, which for the first time in like 2 years last night. So I'm as good as could be.
Wow.
I'm selfish about my sleep almost the way that worked out for me.
How do you do that? How do you even accomplish that? Like, is that something you normally do? 10 hours of sleep?
No. I haven't done that in years.
Good for you.
That's why I'm feeling good today. So I have no complaints.
No complaints whatsoever. Do you find yourself kind of retroactively going back and, reading some things about spring football or trying to catch up on some things in spring football in case you might have missed it just because basketball was such a big deal, like a historically big deal? Do you find yourself doing that at all in terms of catching up, trying to catch up a little bit with what happened in spring?
I don't know how I'd frame it. I guess since there's no actually practices in the spring game in April, I feel like this month there's some use in kind of revisiting certain guys and actually what was said about them, because I do think some people probably looked over it maybe a month ago, like last night, for instance, going through like tape on like Elijah Pritchett and sort of everything that's been said about his development. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. And so, yeah, it's sort of like spring camp is technically over, but I feel like there is a second phase of it where there's some content and some stories that people I hope will want to read because maybe they were so dialed into the hoops. Because there was actually, even though it's been said, Matt, that it was a quieter spring, and it was.
Yeah.
I thought there was some good intel within it, and honestly, there's some position groups where I think if you're paying attention, you started to see how at least the rough draft version looks of who's where on the depth chart and stuff like that.
Brian, we have some breaking news coming in here through Twitter. It has been announced the 2025-2026 AP Coach of the Year is Fred Hoiberg. It was announced by Husker men's basketball on Instagram. Fred Hoiberg, the Coach of the Year. You've been covering this team, Brian, I believe since the beginning. If I'm not mistaken, Fred Hoiberg, you were here for the start of the Fred Hoiberg era for Husker hoops. Is that correct?
I was not the beat guy when his first couple of years. Bruns was doing it for us, and then I started as on the beat. Although I at the Journal Star, I used to cover it quite a bit, but probably like 4 years ago or so. But anyway,
well, that's a great
awesome.
That's a great point, Brian. Like to start at in terms of me asking you this question, because 4 years ago we were kind of at a low point with Fred Hoiberg in his time as the basketball coach of Nebraska. Did you think then and there that 4 years later we would be talking about Fred as the Coach of the Year coming off of a 28-win season with a Sweet 16 appearance? Do you think we would have been there 4 years ago? Was that even a thought in your mind?
I couldn't have guessed all that. I will say when he was first hired, I thought like Nebraska nailed it. I was just surprised it kind of took until year 4 for it to take off as it did. But he's always had, I think, a brilliant offensive mind. And it was just a matter of sort of figuring out in this new era of college basketball, and also after the COVID year, I think that, it's been talked about a lot, but that really dinged him early on when he got started here. But the way they were able to sort of recalibrate, this is the type of roster we're going to build. Obviously, he's hired great staff around him, and I know he'd be the first to say, and will say it, I'm sure, about any awards that come. Coach Lenzer, Coach Ziegler, Pat Modigan, just joining the staff this year. Those guys, and there's countless others behind the scenes that he would mention too. They've been critical, and he's just got the right people over there. And Luca does a great job. With the organizational stuff. So this is a well-ran operation, and Fred's just got a great mind. And if you go back through this season, Matt, and you watch like Nebraska out of timeouts on offense and sets they would run, it's a very high clip that they get a great shot and score off of it. Like the stuff he would draw up. So happy for him, because it's well deserved. I mean, this season, I think it's why you get into like sports writing, to cover a team that's so enjoyable and has great personal stories and actually just great dudes like this squad did. It made it fun again. It gets you away from all the NIL conversations and all the stuff we always talk about that's off the field, and you're actually talking about like a Sweet 16 game and the stuff that happens in the final 2 minutes. It's great to have that feeling again in covering a sport.
You touched on it, right? The adjustments that he's made in his now, it's been 7 seasons. I mean, he's been the head coach of Nebraska basketball longer than he's been the head coach of Iowa State now for a couple of seasons. And you talk about those adjustments he's made, Brian, in terms of how he would recruit from high school compared to how he would dip in the portal. And then even his strategies within the portal have kind of evolved over the last couple of seasons to get this form that they were in this year with 28 victories. 28 victories, by the way, more victories in one season than the first 3 seasons of Fred Hoiberg's time as the head coach of Nebraska. Have you seen that a lot in the Husker athletic programs? Just in the athletic department in general, as your time covering Nebraska basketball, seeing a coach have to evolve and change strategy and pivot so much like Fred has pivoted?
Not since I've been covering it, not to the success rate that Fred did it, because you're right, like midstream. I mean, nowadays you often don't get that opportunity to even do it, right?
Yeah,
like you're
totally
gone.
right.
Like it doesn't happen. And so, he deserves all the credit for that. The other thing I think you have to tip your cap to is when it came to the portal stuff, he's never just, I feel like, gone with the flow of like, okay, you got it. This guy is a top 10 player. You got to go get him or whatever. And maybe some of that's money related. Maybe it was out of Nebraska's reach. But if you look at guys that he's brought in, like Price Sanford, it's easy to say now, like, oh, that was a great pickup. I mean, at the time, people were like, oh, that's nice. Like, I don't know. He averaged like 6 points last year. And people weren't thinking he was going to be what he was. And I think a lot of people just thought of him as a shooter. But Fred saw something more in him. Same thing in Rink Mass, really. Like, Rink Mass was a good player at Bradley, but he wasn't like, top 10 on a lot of portal lists that year at his position or anything like that. And he just saw, this fits what we're trying to do. This fits our system. And now the beauty of it is he has that on tape to show other guys when they go into this portal cycle. This is how we use Rink. This is how we could use a big like you to facilitate. And guys are going to like that. They're going to see it before their eyes. Like, yeah, I could be that guy. And I have a feeling some of these guys in the portal also, they probably picked up on the fandom around Husker basketball and how intense it is right now, and that can help them too.
It is one of those things too, where it's just the consistent. I don't want to call it consistent revisionist history, but there is a little bit of revisionist history in terms of how we view some of his acquisitions. But I also say this, Brian, like it's always been about the fit with Fred.
Yep.
It's always been about. It's not necessarily about the rankings. It's about how do you come into this program? How do you fit not only from a playing perspective, but a culture and personality perspective? What's on your wish list? What do you think that this team needs to go ahead and get? Like, what's top billing for Brian Christopherson?
I mean, what they're after is what everybody's after. But again, Fred can put the tape in front of some guys, be like, "This is it. Like, it works here."
Yeah.
And the first place you'd start, that big, ideally, who can facilitate. It's certainly a bonus and something you look for if he can be a threat from the outside, like Rink was. And I know Rink got a little cold there at the end, but the bottom line is teams had to respect that that's a guy who on a given night as a 5-man could go hit, 3 or 4 3-pointers on you. And so it drew the people away from the bucket, opened up passing lanes, and then he was a good guy you could play off of. So they need that big man, I think, you can run the offense through. Whether the second part would be like a point guard, but somebody who can be a ball handler. Obviously, you've got to replace Jamarcus and Sam. And I know Fred would say, like, I mean, they use a lot of guys to handle the ball and bring it up the court. He's not afraid to let or even Burke, bring it up the court sometimes. But I think they're going to need sort of that point guard type guy along with a 5. And then whatever supplementary parts you can find from there that just like sort of fit around what you have coming back. Because they do have a really good nucleus. And we'll see for sure, but it seems like things are tracking toward getting the main guys back that Husker fans want back.
All right, last question here for Brian Christopherson of Huskers 24/7. We've been ping-ponging around here between Husker football and Husker basketball. Let's end on Husker football. I'm looking at a list to the right of me right now, Brian Christopherson, that has all of the assistant coaches that are currently on Nebraska's staff. And there's a lot of new names. There's Jeep Wade, Lonnie Teasley, there's Corey Brown, Roy Manning. Out of these new coaches, which one has kind of impressed you the most? Just to say it bluntly, which one is sticking out to you out of the new guys in Lincoln?
I mean, it's hard to say it because they haven't played yet, but Jeep Wade, from what's been before us with like recruiting and the portal stuff, it's hard not to see like, okay, that's an upgrade. Like the type of players that they're getting in for visits, it feels like the way recruits talk about him. Let's just take a guy they got from LSU, Paul Mabanga, who visited 2 or 3 SEC schools. Alabama was interested in him during the portal phase. And Jeep Wade's like, no, we're going to get this guy. And he had a past relationship with them from recruiting him and his brother that helped. But the way that he worked on that one, and they ended up getting a guy who I think is going to be one of their best linemen this year at left guard, pretty impressive. And so,
yeah,
I don't know, just on the surface, they've got to go do it. Like everybody gets that. But when you saw their front 5 roll out for the spring game and you think about it, like that's good on paper. When you're going from left to right, it's Pritchett, Bubanga, Justin Evans, Brandon Black, who's played more than 2,100 snaps, and then a big tree, Babalade at right tackle. Not bad on the surface. So they got to do it. But Deep's done a nice job, I think, with that line. And I think some of the stuff they're going to do that he's brought from Georgia Tech, you're going to see those guys get out in space a little bit more. And they're going to be a little bit, I think, more athletic than they have been up front. So I would say him. However, Corey Brown and Roy Manning have a chance to be very high in the hearts of Husker fans if they can work with that D-line and develop some guys that have to develop. It's not going to be easy. And my biggest question mark is that group. But I would say about the D-line, my sense is they've got better coaching now than they had a year ago. And I think they'll have a chance to be in better positions to succeed in this scheme and with this staff than maybe last season. And so that's sort of the hope with that.
Keelan Rutledge is a offensive guard that was under Jeep Wade over at Georgia Tech. He's ranked as the number 5 guard in this upcoming NFL draft, which, by the way, I'm seeing a lot of Emmett Johnson to your Minnesota Vikings, Brian Christopherson. How cool would that be if number 23 ends up donning that number for the Vikes in this upcoming season. Brian Christopherson of 24/7. So much, BC. We appreciate you as always.
Yep, I always enjoy being on. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Brian Christopherson of Huskers 247. Coming up next, let's get odd. Let's get weird. Let's get strange. It's lunchtime, baby. The odd news is coming up next on Middays with Matt.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Alrighty, I hate flying, but what I do love is the odd news with Odd Son. Josh, take it away, my friend. We have some time. We have a couple scores. You can probably fit all three in, so let's get to it.
Everyone on the planet Earth is obsessed with Artemis 2.
Yes. It is going to.
I'd like to update everyone on a problem aboard Artemis 2.
Oh no.
Yeah. But everything's okay. Everything's been fixed.
All right.
There were major toilet issues.
Oh God. Okay.
On aboard Artemis 2. Mission specialists has a new name to add to her resume: Space Plumber, as she successfully fixed the toilet issue on the NASA rocket. She gave viewers the rundown on after the Orion spacecraft's porcelain throne, called the Universal Waste Management System, stopped working just hours after launch on Thursday. Luckily, she noted it was a minor issue, had to do with the toilet sitting for too long. It just needed to warm up before the crew could make it operational.
Before they could take care of their business.
Yes. It forced the astronauts to hold it or use a backup system until the issue was fixed. It does not say what the backup system is.
Fair enough.
I'm going to guess it wasn't just, hey, there's a used Gatorade bottle in the back. Feel free to do that. But again, everything's okay now aboard Artemis 2.
You know what? Out of all of the things that could go wrong in space, it definitely is one that bites you in the butt, if you will.
Literally.
God dang! We need to just. I said we just need to have a green button. I just want to be able
to
bang.
Green.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Like a physical button.
like the Staples. That was easy. You know, like one of those.
I was going to make that reference, and then I quickly thought, is he going to get that reference?
Like one of those problems is like, you know, we have no more oxygen, or like the front of the spaceship is off, and it's like we're all going to perish. But like, you don't think, hey, what happens if the toilet doesn't work, but then the toilet isn't working and it's terrible? So congratulations to them for fixing that. You worried me a little bit.
Now, well, I was being purposefully deceitful.
They're just going to the dark side of the moon. They're not landing on it yet, right?
Correct.
They're just going around.
Correct.
Then they're going to land on it later.
Yes. This is all to set up the next mission, which is landing on the moon.
To then land on Mars.
Maybe
one day. Or this is just a peer pressure from a bunch of people who said we never landed on the moon. And they're just like, get the hell up, we're going.
We find out a lot of things about humanity by going to the moon.
Or to the internet. What is our next question from the internet?
We go to Kentucky, where a man, 48 years young, has been arrested for GUI, galloping under the influence.
This is a made-up.
Kentucky cops say the man had just left a liquor store, smelled of alcohol, and was found partially slumped over a horse. Jorge Hernandez, 48 years young, was arrested for galloping under the influence in a residential neighborhood in Bowling Green.
Arrest me. I've been galloping under the influence for a very long time. I actually was galloping under the influence right now at a gala.
According to an arrest report, an officer spotted the sagging Hernandez atop a horse.
The sagging Hernandez. Sounds like something in the Urban Dictionary.
It does. When Hernandez began to ride on the sidewalk, a cop performed a traffic stop. Hernandez.
No, there's not. That's not a traffic stop. He's on the sidewalk.
It is.
This isn't a beach. It's a bathtub. This is ridiculous.
After performing a series of field sobriety tests, Hernandez was arrested for operating a non-motor vehicle under the influence of intoxicants. After being booked into county jail, Hernandez was released into the custody of federal agents pursuing an immigration warrant.
We're going to have to talk about that warrant out of Jefferson.
All right. Part of that's on you.
That's yes. There's
you got to be more careful.
So he was riding a horse while drunk.
That is correct.
Okay. I guess when you first said galloping, I thought like he was galloping.
Oh, okay,
himself,
sure.
is
No,
what I
he was
thought.
riding a horse. He was driving a horse drunk. And then he said,
But are you
"But
drunk?
officer, I was on the phone with the president.
That's
You
how-
could see why my horse was all askew."
Hey, E23 Waggle. I love you all. Let's go win the state title. By the way, do you know who was galloping under the influence? Flavian Pratt, the way that he was riding Commandment in the Florida Derby.
Oh,
You hack.
wow.
What a hack. All right, final
You're
story.
hearing it more and more. We updated you earlier this week on the Kit Kat.
Yeah, the most
Heist.
pointless crime of all time. Even Kit Kat didn't care.
Kit Kat does care now.
Oh, why?
They have said that 413,793 bars of delicious Kit Kat were stolen earlier this week. That's roughly 12 tons of candy. And they have launched a website for you to check your Kit Kats this weekend and make sure you're not eating any contraband.
How much do you think like they're selling the advertising on that website?
I think that's entirely what this is about.
I think that's going at a very pretty.
12 tons of Kit Kat were heisted from on a central Italy to Poland route. And Kit Kat has launched a website. You can enter in various cereal bar numbers on your Kit Kat and make sure that it's not stolen.
Let me tell you something right now. You're in the click game. I'm in the click game. We've been in the click game for a while.
Mm-hmm.
This is so pathetic. I kind of respect it. You know, this is so ridiculous. You didn't buy a stolen Kit Kat, right? You're not, and no one cares if you bought a stolen Kit Kat.
There is no belief that
No.
any U.S. product was affected by this.
Listen, look, the only point is so I can ask you, hey, what's the website URL? Let's check it out. And then you go and then cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
I will say there are no ads on this website.
They get you in other ways.
I'm sure.
The underground Kit Kat mob is out there, right? You got to be wary of.
Oh, yeah. You got to
What
watch
you
out.
also have to be wary about, you don't really have to be worried about this individual at all, actually. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met in Omaha, to be frank with you. Marty Cordero, the Omaha Score Chasers, joining us next in studio here on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Josh Peterson does this annoying thing where he
Yeah, he does.
lowers the blinds and I can't see out to dodge, even though I love looking at the street that I hate so much.
Well, that the sun comes in.
What sun? Where's the sun today?
Well,
where is he?
Yeah, he wasn't in there today.
Just saying, it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah. You want to see out into the world in our tiny little window.
Well, Marty Cordero is on his way. He claims that he is stuck in traffic. And I would be able to tell you whether or not he's lying to me if I could just look out the window and see where Marty is.
First of all, I will not have you calling Marty Cordero a liar on his
I
airwaves.
did not call him a liar. I'm just
Second
saying.
of all, would it be so shocking that this city and its poor planning has resulted in massive backup on Friday at noon?
No, it would not be. It would not be.
So many roads are under construction. It has funneled people to one road.
Hey, but you know what? We're going to have a streetcar. Beep, beep.
Boondoggle.
Grift. We did see our boy John, though, yesterday, Mr. Ewing.
Our friend the mayor.
Our friend the mayor. Friend of the program. Friend of the zone. Well, sorry,
That's right.
I just stole USC's thing. Friend of the program here. we got to be specific, because they own program. Yeah, that's their thing. So we're the friend of the program because we speak properly here.
That's what they say about Matt.
That's
McMaster.
what they say about Matt McMaster. There definitely isn't a text per day saying he said this word wrong or he mispronounced pergolas.
Pergolas. I didn't catch that yesterday.
I don't care.
But you move so quickly. I can't always get in there.
Can I tell you right now?
Hey.
If I close my eyes and you told me what to draw a pergola, I couldn't tell you what it is.
It's like the arch top thing.
Seriously, I'm being real with you. I don't know. Like I know I've seen one before. It's like This Week in Women's History. I've seen her face. I don't know her name.
Names are important, Matt.
I'm very bad at them. I'm not good.
You leaned over to me yesterday at the Jet Awards and you said, "Hey, I just want you to know I'm really bad at remembering people's names."
Bad. Like yesterday.
Which kind of shocked me as kind of like social as you are.
Oh, you saw me in my element.
Oh,
yesterday.
yeah. You were working that room.
Dude, I was hobnobbing.
Yeah.
I was hobnobbing to a different degree. I came back and I had people's numbers. You're like, how did you get these people's numbers? I'm like, I have these people's numbers. This is what I do.
There he is.
One person I did hobnob with yesterday. Seriously, like not a joke. Marty
Cordero.
One of the top people I hobnobbed with yesterday was Marty Cordero, the general manager of the Omaha Storm Chasers. They are having.
I couldn't find him. He was moving.
They're open. Yeah, I know.
And
Josh was looking for MC.
I was like,
there.
okay, Marty's over there. I'll make my way over there. And then he was
right here.
He was gone.
Right here, buddy, old boy.
You can do it right there, Marty?
I'm good wherever you guys tell me.
You are perfect right there. You're looking great.
Cub?
Look at that.
What's happening?
Look at that quarter zip.
Hey, Josh.
That's a sexy quarter zip.
It is. It's something new in the team Mitch has. So
yeah,
they're available now.
Turn around to the camera. I want you to show it to the camera.
Am I here?
Yeah, you're modeling.
Am I here to model?
Look at this. Look at that.
You're trying to move merch, right?
Yes, you are. First off, I do want to mention that the Omaha Storm Chaser quarter zip that you have on is Under Armour, and they make high quality quarter zips. I am a massive Under Armour quarter zip fan, so that's hot. Your opening weekend taking on the Buffalo Bisons. I actually, shockingly enough, did some research before this interview. Does that surprise you at all?
No, you're the research king when you want to.
When I want to be. When I want to do the prep. When I want to find out what band Ozzy Osbourne's in. That's when I'm the research
There you go.
king.
There you go.
You have, first off, the foldable schedules. I feel like we don't. The pocket schedules. Like we have.
That's a baseball thing.
That's a baseball, yeah.
I know. We've eradicated them from
Yeah.
society. Like less and less teams do it.
Except for baseball.
Except for baseball.
I tell you, the Royals stopped doing theirs about 3 years ago.
Dude.
And when we do surveys for fans, and I think part of it is probably nostalgia, and I think some of it may be the demo of a baseball fan versus other sports. But our fans say it's pocket schedules 1, and then online team website 2 is where they go to find We are in the midst of soft launching a new Storm Chasers app. We haven't announced.
Whoa!
I guess I did just announce.
All right,
that,
all right.
But
Here on Middays with Matt,
breaking a story.
Soft launch. It's like, it's like when that girl posts a hand of the guy that she's on a dinner with.
Yeah.
You don't know who he is, but it's there. We don't know the specifics of the app, but it is coming. All right, an Omaha Storm Chasers app.
Yeah, so we've been unable to do that for a number of years due to the Baseball Advanced Media and the media rights deal between MILB and Major League Baseball. But we're able to do that now, and so hopefully we'll start to migrate fans to that. But someone that's been doing this 31 years, I don't want to see the pocket schedule go away.
No,
I mean, I
don't you
have
dare.
one in my car, I have one at my house, I have one on my desk, and it's a lot of data.
It is
but
a lot.
I used to write to teams when I was young. Hey, send me pocket schedule, send me stuff, and
Sure.
and they would.
Well,
Stickers. They don't.
What's
that as well.
impressive here too is the marketing that you're able to do on the schedule.
Yeah, there's a lot.
You're able to sell some advertising.
Yeah,
on
there's
here,
a
which
lot,
is-
and there is again a lot of data, but we don't have 8 or 9 or 10 or 16 home games
Well,
or matches. We have 75.
I'm going to put it right here for the people on the Zone YouTube TV channel to see. It is a very nicely organized pocket schedule.
And
So I
you're
want to
just
give
modeling everything.
we got to
today.
see. We got to promote the team. I'm Matt Mick Promotions. That's what they call me. So right here on the right side of your pocket schedule, you have your whole list of promotions here. I see that you've brought a bag of goodies, so we can get into the nitty gritty of what you can enjoy. So first off, let's talk about opening weekend. Opening day is when is opening? It's it already happened, but
Yes.
Friday. So
Yeah,
it
we're in the
happened
middle
on
of our
Tuesday.
first homestand.
In the middle of your first homestand, Friday. It's 6:30, first pitch day against the Buffalo Bison.
Well, home cooking's been good for you this week. Couple of wins.
It
back to
has
back.
been. The weather is what it is, right?
It is.
And one of the reasons I was a little tardy is talking about what are rain clouds going to do, and is it going to warm up? Well, I can answer one. It ain't warming up.
No, it ain't warming up.
And then I can't tell you what's going to happen with the moisture. But yeah, tonight will be game 4 at Warner
Yes.
Park. And Buffalo is here for the first time since we've been in the International League. Buffalo, obviously, Toronto's AAA club, so they've got they've got some quality players on that squad. Casey Candell, great guys, their manager. But we're excited with Patrick Osborne and a loaded from a Major League experience perspective team, if you will. We have more Major League experience on our open day roster this year than the last 3 Storm Chaser squads combined. And
my God.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with the Royals. They feel like they have a playoff caliber team. So when you do that, you want to have reinforcements at the AAA level that have MLB experience as well as players that are prospects.
Sure.
And this is the year that we've had more of a mix of it this year than I would say probably going back to 2013, 14, 15, 16.
Okay,
So
but-
about 10
yeah,
years ago.
Before we dive into all the things that we'll promote here and talk about in terms of why getting people to the ballpark, I actually just have a question. It's kind of just for you and me.
Let's roll.
I'm kind of just fascinated by it. So like you mentioned,
Rapid fire. Let's go.
Well, no, because this is just me learning.
Hold on a second. When is odd news though?
It already happened.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
See, the people love odd news.
Radio replay 1620zone.com.
Yeah,
wherever you
plug
get your podcasts.
Like I said, this is just for me and you because I'm always fascinated about learning about your job. Has there been a little bit of a kick in the butt to up promotions and up like marketing and stuff like that because you have so much experience at the minor league level from an MLB perspective? Like, what is the difference that goes into your marketing from a year-to-year basis based on what type of roster do you have? So, for example, is there a difference how you market the team when you have young prospects that could be potential superstars with the Royals compared to when you market a team like the one you have now that has a lot of baseball experience? Is there a give and take there at all?
It is a good question. I here's one example I'll start with. In 2011, when the middle of the Royals wave of Hosmer, Moustakas, Duffy, Kane, Tim Collins, Lewis Coleman. I mean, go down the whole list, and I'm obviously leaving out a lot of guys, Gerard Dyson, so on and so forth. That was a year when we talked internally saying, hey, traditionally minor league teams promote family fun, affordability, 2-foot team wiener hot dogs, everything else that you have and what you do at the ballpark, because we control everything except for the team and the weather. And if we chose one of those, it would be the weather, not the team. We would, it would be more desirable for a fan's perspective to come to the games, and we'd make more money. So in 2011, we talked about, hey, maybe we should be a little distracted, and maybe we should market baseball. Maybe we should market players a little more direct. We didn't do it.
Okay.
But we talked about it.
Yeah.
And when they told us that the plan was for Haas to be here through most of 2011, and then by May 9th, he was called up to the big leagues, we reminded ourselves as to why you don't specifically market players. But to answer your question, I would tell you there's been a little bit more of a migration to promoting the game of baseball.
Sure.
Because of the rule changes, because of the viewability is a little more desirable for maybe the casual baseball fan, or maybe even the non-baseball fan. Larger bases, all the things, pitch count, pitch clock, all those things. Wow, I called it a pitch clock instead of a shot clock. Listen to me, even being a convert. So we do find ourselves, but that has been for 3 years now, been more done in our digital marketing and our online marketing, so we can be a little bit more nimble and less in our season static and less in our season radio marketing, if you will, in radio spots. So I don't know if I answered your question, because
you did, because
we traditionally haven't done it, but we're doing a little bit more of it on the baseball, but not the name on the back. It's the name on the front.
No, because you perfectly answered my question. You might not have specifically compared the two teams, but what you explained to everybody is what your model is. You don't know if these guys are going to be here for a very long time, right? You don't know how long they're going to be.
Quite frankly, we do know they're not going to be here for a very long time.
Yeah.
The question is how short of a time, not how long of a time. Does that make sense?
Way more sense too. Yeah. And I think you guys did a very good job of when a great example was when you had Cags, right? Like Cags gets brought up.
That's another great example.
Yeah.
We're told he's going to be in Omaha for 2 homestands. That was our back-to-back last year. And we were uber excited about that.
And you put a lot of effort into that. And there was a lot of buzz.
That's an example of digital marketing being nimble and being able to change some graphic design. And Alex Cedar and his team do a great job with that. Well, he got called up after 6 games at home.
Yeah.
Even though we were told 6 to 10 days before that wasn't the plan.
Sure.
And, you could debate, was it the right time, the wrong time? I have my opinions. I've shared those with you off air, and I'll keep it that way. But, that was again another reminder that there's no guarantee when you lean into a player and the name on the back.
And then he ended up coming back. He
did on rehab assignment.
Yeah.
He did. That wasn't a traditional option, if you will.
Sure.
He was on MLB rehab, and obviously it was great to see him healthy and then back up to the big leagues. And then obviously he had great offseason with World Baseball Classic, and now the Royals they're off to a good start. I mean, I wouldn't call it great start, but they're off to a good start. They need to get their bullpen in order, and I think I think they'll be okay though.
They shouldn't have lost that game to the Braves.
Yeah.
Whoa. Hey,
they shouldn't have. You don't. I'm sorry.
Rosters.
No, there's
get your alarm clocks in order, and then we'll talk.
Okay, for the young man, for Jensen here, I just want to put it out there. We all do it. I've done it very famously.
I felt so horrible reading that story. I was like, oh no.
I've done it before, literally on this very station. What you do is you just set a universal alarm clock, and it never changes. It's 6:30 every day. Make sure your phone is plugged in. I haven't made a mistake since.
And you do what he did. He owned it. And he's like, yep, because every clubhouse he goes from now until he retires, he's gonna have to wear it.
I think
people are just gonna razz him.
Finally getting past that, and it took about 8 months for it to happen.
Carter's he's a great young man.
Yeah.
He's young man. He's learning. It just unfortunately it happened when he was in Kansas City and not in Omaha or Northwest Arkansas or so on and so forth. I was reading an article on PCA last week after he signed his new extension.
Deal, yeah. Talk about a young man.
And there's an assistant GM, and I can't remember his name, but he was with the Mets when the Mets drafted him.
Sure.
And PCA's first day of big league camp, spring training, he overslept.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard that story.
I haven't heard
that story or
Great
not.
Story.
And he sat him down and said, this can't happen again, so on and so forth. Well, funny thing, fast forward, I guess it was 2 years, trade deadline comes up. That assistant GM who sat him down and worked with him was now a Cubs assistant
really?
GM,
I didn't know
and
that.
he's the reason. He was the
PCA?
driving factor on
What a great
why
story.
they ended up acquiring him.
Yeah.
But they had a conversation about that incident. Was that consistent with him?
Sure.
And obviously the answer was no. It was a learning opportunity. So again, these things do happen. This isn't it just happening one isolated incident. However, you do have to learn from these things.
God, what a great trade that was. What a bunch of idiots the Mets are. Just a bunch of dummies.
Good take, Matt. Good take.
Half a year for Javi Baez for PCA. Oh my God. All right, let's talk about your promotion.
I like the trade too, because I'm a Cubs guy with you. You know that.
Dude, I love
you know
6
that.
years, $100 million. Hopefully it'll be a Cub for life. I thought a lot of those. Have you watched any of the Lovable Winners podcasts recently with Rossi and
I haven't.
Rizzo? I don't know if I'm going to or not. I probably watch a clip or two of it, but that team though was awesome. No Hall of Famers going to be on that team.
Probably not.
Isn't that incredible?
Probably not.
All of the Hall of Famers that the Cubs have had, you go down
And the one
list,
that wins the World Series.
and none of them are going to end up being there, which is great.
Maybe the lefty, maybe the starter.
He'll be on the ballot again. He'll get a second or third go.
Yeah, but
I don't think he'll get there.
Probably not now, but in the future with veterans, I think ultimately he probably gets in.
Really?
Yeah.
How many
one
World
day.
Series does he have? 2 or 3? He's
Oh,
got.
I thought it was 3.
I think it's 3. He's one of
thought
the
it
best playoff pitchers.
All right, sorry, I digress.
All right, let's talk about.
I could sit here and talk about that all day with you.
I know you can. I know. This is why you were like, Marty told me yesterday. He goes, "How many segments?" And I was like, "Just one, Buckaroo." But now I understand the why.
Drove all the way here for one second.
Well, we're gonna have an extended segment. This is gonna be a long. This is gonna be a long one. We spent the first 15 minutes.
Well,
having
I was told we were going until 12:40. No, I'm kidding.
No,
I'm
no,
kidding.
no.
I'm
Josh
kidding.
would pass out.
Hey,
if we did
I know
a
you got to
one-
pay the bills.
Well,
if
We're
anyone knows it.
syndicated now. We got to stay.
We
on
actually
the
have to
clock.
stay on the clock, and we've been flirting with disaster for the last 3 days. All right, for the 8th time, let's get to your promotions. You got some hot ones. I think
Yes.
it really starts in May. I think you really listen to this: Star Wars Day / jersey auction / fireworks. Insane. Next day.
Of
Oh,
which I brought. We have not unveiled these publicly. So
Okay.
this
Whoa, are we
is-
breaking
this-
another story?
We're breaking
we,
a second
we
story.
are. So
Oh my God! Look at that. Some Jedi garments, right? Look, you
Whoa.
still kept the pinstripes. Got the Omaha Storm Chasers logo, looking like the Republic logo. Look at the font on the back. Look at that. Here, show up there what that looks like.
So these will be worn on May 1st on Star
Okay.
Wars, our annual Star Wars night, and these will be auctioned off. So you have the opportunity to win one of these bad boys, and then you get to go on the field post game and get it right off the Storm Chasers players' back. They'll
Hell
autograph
yeah.
it for you, and 100% of the proceeds go right here to the local Make-A-Wish chapter.
Oh wow!
To help grant needed wishes and support those that are battling different diseases. So we're excited to continue partnering with lots of community organizations. We love our partnership with Make-A-Wish.
Okay, so that's a phenomenal promotion. Like you said, 100% of the proceeds going to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Awesome stuff, Marty. Let's go to the next one. Derby Day. Obviously, wear your fanciest hats. That'll be a ton of fun. What is real quick, because I know you got some more goodies over there that we'll get to. I want to know what the Nothing But Baseball Night is. Is that what entails there? Is it just nothing but baseball?
If you don't like what I do for 75 games a year times the last 31 years, this is your night to come out and not have to see on-field promotions.
Whoa.
and not have to hear a lot of wacky zany things.
Oh.
So we're gonna do a nothing but baseball night.
I believe the Knicks did something like this at a basketball game where they did no music or no nothing. They just let the basketball get played for an entire quarter.
That's we're gonna try
You're gonna
that
do
for
that.
9 innings.
Wow.
I'm sure I'm gonna have withdrawal at some point in time during the night.
No
We'll see-
dizzy bat
We'll see if
race?
I'm no dizzy bat race presented by Warner
Whoa.
Enterprises that night. No.
You're always ready on the advertisements. So Nothing But Baseball, May 14th. That'll be incredibly interesting. And then May 30th, man. This is the one that when it got put out there, I had multiple people come and send me the link to this promo night. Send me what the jersey's gonna look like. It's your runs a night with a hockey jersey giveaway. You brought the sweater.
And I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it?
Well,
Okay.
we're gonna. I haven't taken it out of the package yet, so we're gonna.
We got to make sure, and we'll. I want to position it
It's
in a right
unboxing
way,
content, very hot right now.
just
on
so
YouTube,
everybody
yeah.
can see, get a really good look on the Zone YouTube TV channel what the jersey for Star Wars Day is going to look like right there, and then show that. Back up a little bit, Marty. You want to back up slightly for me right there?
Whoa.
Look at that sweater.
That is nice.
That is. Can I say it? That's sexy. That is a hot. What's that number on the back? Is that 26? That's my number.
Schaefer was wearing the Runza's hat today, yesterday too.
Show the camera again.
Mm.
Woo! Woo! It's a little Minnesota North Star, like very Minnesota North Star meets your favorite fast food restaurant. That's great stuff.
First 1,000 on that night on Runza night.
Whoa, that's gonna be.
We started Runza night back in 2018, and we've only lost once as the
Okay.
Omaha Runzas.
Hello.
I believe that was in 2024. But no, that same thing that night. Our jerseys on the field. I didn't have a jersey to bring, but our jerseys that night auctioned off again, and that goes to benefit Food Bank for the Heartland in partnership with Runza. Becky Parrott and everyone at Runza has been great, and Brian Barks and Food Bank for so many years. We appreciate those partners. But it'd be a great night, and we'll still have the Runza wrapping contest that night on wrapping Runzas. Runzas will be available in the stadium, and we have a whole host of Runza garb inside the team store: T-shirts, hats, off the field jerseys, and a percentage of those sales also go to help Food Bank for the Heartland.
Okay, we got a couple more that we have to hit here. Always a great one here. Cancer Awareness Night, pinked out the park T-shirt giveaway. That's also a jersey auction that
and
night.
that's brand new.
Okay.
We're working closely with American Cancer Society. They want to grow it. Obviously the King and Queen are the two games they do with Creighton each year, both the men and women's side. So we want to grow into that. We're not pretending we're going to grow to that level. However, we need that baseball here in market as well. And so they approached us this offseason about really putting some more gusto behind cancer awareness. And look, we've all been impacted, or we are currently impacted by cancer in some regard. So this is a meaningful night in a number of ways. And this is in conjunction with our annual Stand Up to Cancer night that is throughout minor league, major league
What is
baseball.
it during the World Series? There's always that moment of everyone holding up the sign, and that's always really chilling.
Yeah, there is. And we'll have that moment as well, and some other things. So yeah, I'm excited. That's
all. I mean, look, man.
If there's any plea I would give to the community, that's a game where I really would urge you all to consider coming out this year. On that one, we're trying to really grow that. And again, that jersey auctioned off will go to benefit American
That's
Cancer
awesome.
Society.
I'm glad I touched on that. That caught my eye immediately, and that's awesome that you guys are working with them and trying to grow that. Let's hit a couple. Obviously, we already talked about this young man. He's trying to make a big mark in Kansas City, but you guys are going to have a Jack Caglione bobblehead giveaway. How many first what get a Jack Caglione?
Not enough, as everybody always tells me. But
get ahead of it.
Yeah, it's generally around the 1,500 number on our bobbleheads. But it's never enough. But I would just say, then get there earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have Harry Potter night. I actually went to that game last year. That was a ton of fun.
Yeah, that's right.
You set me up with that one. You put me in the nice little box.
Each section was a house. I thought that was a unique.
Yeah.
Instead of just, I don't know, it's Harry Potter night. Come on out. We'll do Harry Potter
and
stuff.
a lot of characters last year.
Yeah.
The team, we did it a couple times back before COVID, and we sucked at it, quite honestly. When we weren't good.
Yeah.
And the promotions team, Katie Scott and her group, along with Alex and Nina and Clayton and the rest of the crew, they did a great job leaning into that night last year. So I expect it will be, executed. I don't know if it's going to be the same, Josh, this year, but yeah, it will be a fun night.
It was great jerseys last year. I thought that you guys were going to butcher it, to be honest. I did. I mean, Harry Potter, I'm just saying there's a lot that you can mess up with a Harry Potter
honest
jersey.
interview.
I am.
It is
This
honest.
my friend.
And
I go and play. I didn't know what a Harry Potter jersey in baseball would look like. I thought they were awesome.
I appreciate the candor. But
you always appreciate the candor.
But we nailed it. So
you did nail it. No, that's what I'm telling you. I thought it would go wrong. It didn't go wrong. It went great.
Those jerseys quickly go to Chasers Charities. And for those out there that may coach Little League softball or baseball, or you're on a board, go to chaserscharities.org and find out when our next grant deadlines are, so we can help you update your youth fields. And that's what those jersey auctions proceeds go to.
We have 3 more I want to hit real quickly.
you're home the 3rd and the 4th of July. That's always a huge
250th. We lucked into that quite honestly because
Mm-hmm.
we'll be on the road next year for the 3rd and 4th. So that's going to be a huge celebration. We've got a lot of special tributes and people we're going to that we're working with in different groups. So if you want to come on the 3rd or 4th and 4th, I urge you to go to omahaStormchasers.com today and buy your tickets, or at least call the ticket office because the tickets are going fast.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was on your list.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. But you know what? You're calling it Freedom Weekend, which
Yes.
I think is awesome.
Yep,
The 3rd,
absolutely.
4th, and 5th. So that's a great promotion. Here's one right away stands out. I'm going to be there. NASCAR night. Presented by the Kansas Speedway.
Yeah. Last year, it looked like today's weather last year. So we're optimistic that we're going to have a little bit better luck this year. They'll have their show car, and we partner with some other groups on that night as well.
And then the first Omaha Storm Chasers game I ever went to, this young man was pitching. It was Noah Cameron. You will have a bobblehead night for Noah Cameron. That will be the day after NASCAR night. So that'll be August 22nd.
Yeah,
On August 22nd, you guys are playing, let me see here, the Rochester Red Wings. I was a Rochester Red Wing on my Little League baseball team.
Whoa.
No joke. So that's awesome. Anything else that we haven't touched yet before we
Well,
let you go here?
The while supplies last, if you come out for Bark in the Park night. Bark in the Park is every Wednesday night game this year, just Wednesdays and at night. So your dog will get this pretty sweet.
Yeah, give me that right here.
Is that a kerchief?
Kerchief scarf there at that's while supplies last. So April, May, June, and while supplies last. So that's something new this year on Bark in the Park. So
that's awesome.
And you go and you register your dog online in advance. It saves you time, and it's free.
So
free for your dog.
you're doing like 75 home games a year, right? Pre-season, there's got to be a big planning meeting for what are we going to do this year.
It sounds like hell.
I imagine there's probably a couple ideas that every year make the board, but maybe don't make the schedule. Is there one that you're like that you think will work, but nobody else in the building is like?
What is your SNL skit that's never made it?
Well,
to air?
I'll answer you, but I'm not going to answer with mine. Well, I'll answer is what didn't make the cut this year is at Rosenblatt. You might remember this because we did 4 weddings and a funeral either in 2009 or 2010, and we literally had 4 couples get married after the game before fireworks, and after that we gave away a funeral, and the guy was excited about winning the funeral. It kind of sucked because he was from Georgia, but he wasn't a local fan. But anyway, it was fun. So in the same vein, we were going to do a wedding night this year, and then the very next game we were going to have divorce night. And we decided
that would have been great.
That we weren't ready for that yet to be able to execute it.
Okay.
But that's an example of the types of conversations we have internally, and the same thing with the food. And you guys obviously had Chef Joey on
Team Wiener
very recently,
dude. What a sandwich!
It's amazing, and it feeds 5, 6, 7 people. It's 4.5 pounds of I'll stop of goodness.
Mm-hmm. That's sausage.
It was awesome. Dude, you guys killed it. You are killing it as always. You are the absolute best. We absolutely love having you on. I'm glad I ran into you at the Jet Awards.
Yeah, what a great event last night.
It was. How great was that?
It really
Michael and Damon and all the people who helped put that together. Denny as well. Ruth, who's here, who works here at 1620 The Zone. Mr. Wagner, all the people involved. Obviously, Johnny the Jet Rogers, all the people who were involved with that event and putting the gala together.
There were 3 quick things that really hit me last night. First off, honoring someone who's really behind the scenes, Katie.
Yeah, Katie,
who was recognized, and
awesome.
She had no idea, and she was very genuine. And she's a nurse over at Children's, and she impacts lives every day. So that was cool. The second,
Katie Rogers, right? Was
yes,
that her last
it
name?
is. Yep.
She was, and by the way, for being on the spot impromptu, her speech was very
great.
impressive.
Yes,
very impressive for me.
And second was kind of a combined was Scott Strohmeyer. If you don't know Coach Strohmeyer, he's awesome. I actually took a road trip with him a few years ago with him and Jake Ryan, and we went down to see a Kansas State game when what was the quarterback? He played at Iowa West when Jake Waters, one of his former players, and so I got to know him a little bit, but he and his family obviously had a tough year last year, losing their daughter. They won again. And then for him to present the back-to-back award to a former player,
so cool.
I thought that was special. But for me, it was awesome hearing from the 3 students who are actual recipients and are furthering their life. Well, 2 of them are furthering their lives, and one of them, both from a physical and a mental perspective, is getting his life back in order. So, look, if you don't know much about the Jet Awards and what they do to help Metro Community College and the trades out there, learn about it. Please learn about it, because what Johnny has done for the last 15 plus years, and now what Michael is helping Johnny really grow that program and increase the support and benefit for those out there. It's really important, because we all get caught up on where did you go to school and are you going to a 4-year college? Well, not everybody's cut out for that, and Metro offers so many great opportunities for students in the area. I just hope everybody in that room really understood that. I know it was meaningful to me.
And every time we have Michael on here, we always try and remind people at least that, yes, it's about the best returner in all of college football, but what they do for the trades, it's absolutely incredible. And you're right. What I've seen it up close, with being very close as I am with Michael, how much work that goes into that event, and they killed it. And talking to some people came up to me and they go, "Man, this thing gets bigger
every year
and bigger."
Yeah. That's the first time I had been able to go, just with baseball schedule, and it was great.
Hell of a venue, hell of a time. So glad I saw you. So glad you came on the show today.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have an incredible season. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for supporting local.
Middays with Matt. Got to keep it rolling here. Let's do some miscellaneous stories that not enough people are talking about across sports. Coming up
Tommy
next
Lloyd just got paid
on 1620 The Zone.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Our interview with Marty Cordero continued off of the air as well. So I don't think we didn't have a whole lot of time to necessarily get our bearings here to figure out what we're going to talk about.
Tommy Lloyd got paid.
Okay, so we're going to go through a couple of things in college basketball. Cam Boozer, officially the AP National Player of the Year. No surprise there. Fred Hoiberg, officially the AP National Coach of the Year. Obviously, I think this was the clear choice for people who have been following college basketball closely. But I did have a little bit of a fear that what happened in the Big Ten might have happened nationally, that people were going to freak out about Michigan going 19-1 in the regular season. Now, if they win the Big Ten tournament, is it a little bit of a closer conversation? Who's to say? It don't matter if they won the Big Ten tournament. The coach of the year was in Lincoln this entire time. Fred Hoiberg is the man. He gets that honor, even though he didn't win the consensus coach of the year in the Big Ten, which is very, very funny. Tommy Lloyd is staying in Arizona. That has officially come through the ticker. It's a 5-year contract that'll go through 2031. So he is staying at Tucson.
Top 5 in the country. UNC offered him top 2 in the country, and he declined.
Wow. Look, this is one of those things where we talked about it yesterday, that this North Carolina job was going to be the litmus test as to how much do blue bloods, how much power do they still hold when it comes to poaching coaches across the country. And obviously, because of NIL being such a big deal, and frankly, if you have the support of your athletic department and you have the support financially, there aren't too many more reasons to leave, just because money is what matters, more than anything right now. Arizona has it. They were one of those teams on the On3 article that I touched on earlier that are definitely gearing up for spending in the 8 figures when it comes to their roster next season. Tommy Lloyd has won the most games in the first 5 seasons of a head coach in history. He is the first. He has the most wins of a first-time 5-season head coach of all time. He passed Brad Stevens earlier this season. He signs what is going to be a $7.2 million deal next season, and then will average out to 7.5 over the lifetime of that deal. Per CBS Sports' Matt Norlander, North Carolina offered to make Lloyd a top 2 highest paid, which you were talking about, Josh Odson. He, though, decided to stay in Tucson. So Tommy Lloyd,
I think he made the right call.
I mean,
if you got it up and running,
why leave it?
Why leave it?
Why leave it when you have the financial support, when you have the fan support, when you have the athletic department support? Also, too, this is an Arizona team that is right on the verge of winning a national championship. This was the same conversation we had with Todd Golden. Todd Golden won a national championship. He's proven that he can do it. He's proven that he can compete at the level. He proved that he can get the finances, that he can get the support. Why leave Florida, right? With Tommy Lloyd, why leave Arizona when you're getting paid what you want to get paid? He gets the raise he so desperately deserved. And then on top of that, you're going from a stable place in Arizona to you're going to go to North Carolina, and you think the expectations are going to dip? You think the expectations are going to fall off? You think they're not going to hold you to the same or maybe even higher standard that they were to Hubert Davis? Let's call a spade, ladies and gentlemen. Hubert Davis made the Final Four. Hubert Davis was 20 minutes away from winning a national championship. Hubert Davis, Caleb Wilson was one of the best players in college basketball. They don't lose Caleb Wilson this year. They're probably a top 4 seed. They probably get to the second weekend. But they didn't care about that. They're cutthroat over there at Chapel Hill. And I think Tommy Lloyd looked at that situation and said, yeah, maybe they're paying me a little bit more money, but you know what? $7.5 million to be a head coach in college basketball sounds great to me. I'm going to keep my feet planted 10 toes down in Tucson.
I think it was Mac. Forgive me if it wasn't. I think he said, don't mess with happy. And if you're happy where you're at,
listen,
top 5, top 2, what the hell's the difference?
That's another one too. Mike McMaster's, one of his favorite sayings of all time. He tells it to me all the time. Matt, in this case, he would call me Matty. You don't leave fish to find fish. You don't catch a couple of fish in a spot and go, oh, the fish are here. Let me go somewhere else. Nope. You stay where you are and you keep catching them. And Tommy Lloyd's found fish over in Tucson. He's going to keep on throwing that reel into the water. And he's going to keep reeling them up. And he's going to keep doing that. And I don't blame him in the slightest. Obviously, North Carolina's attention at this point, according to all the reports, is going to turn to Dusty May. Will he get paid by Michigan, or will he go to Chapel Hill? Will North Carolina prove their gusto, or will they become what the Penn State job was to college football?
Oh,
will they just be the job that everybody thought a lot of people wanted, and then it turns out actually everybody was fine? Isn't it incredible when college football kind of mirrors college basketball in a way, and vice versa?
It is.
This was a Penn State job where they fired James Franklin, even though James Franklin had accomplished so much in his career as Penn State, but he didn't live up to their standards. And so they fired him and thought, oh, everybody's going to want this job. And yet they went candidate after candidate after candidate, telling them no and getting extensions. Obviously, it hasn't turned into that for North Carolina yet, and I don't think it will get to that case, but already some people getting paid because of this job opening being around and interest being thrown. Tommy Lloyd is the latest to benefit from that. You don't leave fish to find fish. And if you want to find fish, we have a zone half-off deal that is perfect for you.
What a Matt Mix segue.
If you have ever been to northern Minnesota, if you've ever been to the border of Canada, you know what I'm talking about. Lake of the Woods. It's one of the best places in the world to catch big northern, big muskie, big walleye. Well, if you go to 1620thezone.com, we have a half-off deal that is a trip of a lifetime. 6 people from May 21st to 25th, Morrison, Ontario, bucket list fishing trip at Lake of the Woods. This half-off deal includes 4 nights cabin lodging, 3-day guided multi-species fishing, rod, reels, bait, and tackle included, fish cleaning, meals, and non-alcoholic drinks included, island transportations included, and this inclusive style trip puts you on the water with expert guides and one of Canada's premier fishing destinations. No experience is needed. These guides, man, I've been fishing my entire life with guides over in Minnesota. They're going to treat you right. If you don't know how to fish, they're going to teach you how to fish. If you do know how to fish, they're only going to get you better. They're going to put you in the right spots to succeed. If you want to take advantage of this half-off deal now, go to 1620thezone.com for more details. Coming up next, let's talk a little Illinois UConn, if we will, until Austin Jacobson joins the show at 1 o'clock here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Kirby Smart came out yesterday and said that he doesn't think the conference championships have a place anymore in college football. That was after the Alabama AD kind of expressed the same message. It seemed like last year in
How
the
to do the
12.
rules of the road to Kirby.
Well, okay, we don't have to bring up his team's lack of driving ability every time.
I feel like more people should bring up, especially when asking Kirby Smart questions, like, I don't know, whenever he's in public.
Anyway, Kirby went. I mean, what is he supposed to do? Right? I'm sure that he's thought about having a driving seminar.
What is he supposed to do?
He's not driving the car.
Lack of institutional control comes to mind.
That's a good point, Josh. All right. It definitely is a bad reflection on it.
But that's not what we're talking about. I'm sorry.
Conference championship games, a relic of the past. No, probably no longer going to happen. I'll just tell you quickly why I think that this is the case. I think back, like Josh Peterson brought up this great point of like the big matchups early in the season in college football are great because nobody knows if they're bad or not yet. You know, like you don't, there's a lot of excitement, but you don't really know what you got. And so that's why it just seems like there's bigger matchups in the beginning of the year, in the beginning of the season, as opposed to the end of the season. And conference championships, when we were really trying to whittle it down to 2 or 4 teams to win a national title, were so important in terms of figuring that out, number one, but also drawing late season big matchup interest. Now that we have this 12-team college football playoff, we are backloaded galore in terms of important high stakes quality team matchups. And that's why the college football playoff in a way was created, so we can create more of those big matchups later in the season. Now that you have that, you don't really need a conference championship game that, brings that. But I'll say this, last year in the college football playoff, those SEC teams who were in the, 10-4 range, who didn't have to play in the SEC championship game, were so happy that they didn't have to participate in that because they knew that it could only really hurt them. And I think that's kind of the consensus at this point from a lot of coaches and teams. Hey, now that we have what we have, these conference championship games aren't necessarily about whittling down the field. It's more, it actually hurts us more than it helps us, really. And so
you got to find something to replace it with for TV. Because there's a money quotient to it, like everything. But once they figure out that, they're done.
Illinois is going to take on UConn. I will say this: Terrace Reed Jr., in my opinion, has been the MVP of the NCAA tournament. He has absolutely dominated teams down low in the paint that we thought were going to be able to stop him. Calder and Cooper from Michigan State was first. Then it was Boozer. I mean, literally, UConn's defensive game plan against Duke, their adjustment was, we're not going to allow Sarr and Caden Boozer and all their other guys to beat us. We're going to shut these guys down, and we'll take our chances with Cam. And that's what they did with Reed Jr. in the paint on defense. And then conversely, on the offensive end, a lot of their offense was just getting the ball into Reed in the paint. Look, these two teams are very slow. They're both outside of the 300s in terms of pace of play, yet they're both incredibly efficient offenses. They're built kind of similarly when you have dynamic guards who can score along with some really big size at the 4 and 5, but they play the game a very different way than one another. Illinois has a lot of screening action, a lot of high screens that drives to the basket, kicks off, kickouts to their spacing and their shooters, where UConn is very much an off the ball team, a lot of actions on the weak side to get shooters open, a lot of creative stuff from Luke Murray, the current assistant coach of UConn and also the current head coach of Boston College basketball. So it's a lot of the two teams built similarly with contrasting styles in terms of how they score slowly and efficiently, but that's how they get it done. I do think I'm going to favor Illinois in this matchup. I first want to say I'm going to take the over. I think the over is a great bet, 139.5. But I just think Illinois, if you're going to be super aggressive against Illinois on defense like UConn can be, they can take advantage of that because of their size. We saw it against Nebraska when Nebraska got aggressive, how Illinois took advantage of that. I think they do that against UConn. Got to heat up the ball on UConn a little bit, though, on the perimeter on defense. That's not typically what they do. We'll see if Underwood can make that adjustment and get his team to the national championship final. All right. Our favorite, a lot of people's favorite segment of the week is coming up next. Austin Jacobson joins us here on Middays with Matt on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 and 97.7 The Zone in Central Nebraska. We bring in one of Central Nebraska's favorite sons. Austin Jacobson joins MWM here on a midday as he shows us our Kearney Lopers volleyball. Who's that signed by?
I believe it's signed by the 2000. I'd have to look up, but it's the RMAC champion, I believe, national champion roster. I'd have to find it. Yeah, I found this in the cellar of the KGFW radio dungeon and pulled this out for my own personal collection. So
that's awesome. I tried stealing the Jet Award football up here that we were given to by Michael Severe, and they didn't allow me to steal it. So I'm glad that you got away with thievery. I know. Just let a man be a theft, right?
Yeah, right. Well, and us former NRG media employees, we can take whatever we want from those studios. It doesn't matter anymore.
We can dance if we want to. All right. That's what we were quoting The Social Network before you came on here. I feel like judging how I know you as we continue to grow our relationship or maybe deteriorate as you continue to come on, we'll kind of figure it out. But I look at you and I think Austin Jacobson loves The Social Network. Am I right or wrong?
I'm not one of those that there's a group of people I know that watch The Social Network once a year. That's a bit much for me.
It's becoming a little cult classic-y. Would you agree with that?
I wouldn't say it's anywhere near cult classic because there's a huge I think people forget how big that movie was when it first came out. Jesse Eisenberg wasn't
the greatest movie of all
time. Yeah, some people do call it that. I will give it this credit. It is arguably the best movie soundtrack to work to. I put it on my headphones constantly while I'm doing work or I'm typing stuff out. It's an elite listen for that sort of stuff.
That's how often do you listen to movie soundtracks? This is an honest question. I'm not making fun of you.
Whenever I'm writing or doing anything for Husker Max, I'll do it then. When I'm in the office at Hurrdat Sports, I'll do it there if we're putting up some stuff online and whatnot. Not really a listen to movie soundtracks when I'm driving. I'll do podcasts and stuff. Yeah. Definitely not when I'm running, which I'm doing plenty of recently. We are not listening to movie soundtracks when we're running, except for the Mortal Kombat soundtrack from the original 1990s films. Those rock. Those are some of the best.
Have you seen the new ones?
I have. I've only seen the newest one is coming out, right? The new one came out a couple of years ago, I believe, on streaming. I did watch that. It rocked. It was fun. It was a fun time.
Really? Maybe I should go. Maybe I should watch it. That seems like a movie that would be really good in theaters, especially if they're doing a second one where they could probably amp it up a little bit. I haven't gotten them as much recently, but when I did go through a pretty bad string of just having anxiety attacks and stuff like that, I would pop on, I'm just being honest here. I would pop on the Moneyball soundtrack. And that was the best. It was the most calming music of all time. Let's talk sports here. Let's get into a little bit here.
Okay. Moneyball?
No. Do you like Moneyball?
Moneyball is great. The scene where he goes back to the stadium after turning on the radio and hearing that they're up 22-3 or something like that is phenomenal. Music in that is very good. Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to bring up the Moneyball of college basketball or something. I didn't know if you're going to say.
You know what? Is it getting ruined
in college basketball, or what do you mean?
Here's why, and this is why I posed the question. Because I think last year you could totally point to multiple teams and have case studies as to, this is how they did it. They invested in spacing. They invested in having long time, retention. They invested in having culture. And you can kind of look at Iowa. Yeah, they weren't all at Iowa together, but a lot of those guys had played together and a lot of those guys have been coached by Ben. And you look at Nebraska, a lot of those guys had played together and they invested a lot in spacing. And I think you can, and there's more examples than that where you go, they kind of moneyballed this. Where this year, you're looking across and I'm reading these articles, it seems like everybody wants the same thing, right? And that's where Moneyball gets ruined. Moneyball gets ruined when everybody realizes, this is what we need to acquire, and the market then inflates, and then you're back to the rich only being the ones to acquire those players. I feel like it's getting a little reverse because it seems like everybody wants a point guard and everybody wants a big man.
Yeah, so I made this comment on Wednesday when I was in for John on Sportsmanlike Conduct, but I think that there is a point in all sports worlds, right, when we talk about money and resource and kind of the power that comes with that. You and me will likely never be in this level of booster. that I
True.
will be giving back to the UNK donation base and you to the Lincoln base, right?
Yeah.
But there is something to say about money talking and how money walks as well, right? And I quoted this from the Pony Excess 30 for 30, one of my favorite documentaries from that 30 for 30 franchise, that it became such a power brokerage for the SMU donors to just win over a recruit, saying we beat out so-and-so, this school, this guy, the guy from my office, whoever, because I paid more to get that kid to go to my school. I think we're getting closer and closer to that demographic where, yes, a coach and an athletic department will likely go, hey, to retain this top player or to go get this guy that we have identified on a roster that we need this much money. I think that will become kind of a power brokerage after all. But to your point about, okay, so does the money ball aspect of it all kind of switch up? I think that there's still room for a lot of guys to be able to fit within these cracks, right? And it comes from the Division II transfers that are moving from smaller programs and move their way up. Do they get paid more later on? Yes, but can you have flash in the pan programs that can compete for national championships? Probably not. Iowa is a great example of this, right? In this past run that they had. Nebraska, I guess you could argue, probably about the same too. But even in those senses, those rosters are still more expensive than what probably like a Wichita State roster was this past year. Those rosters are still more expensive than a lot of those undercarry programs that we've seen make dramatic upsets and runs in NCAA tournaments before.
But let's add to this point, right? Because Nebraska made it to the Sweet 16 and Iowa made it to the Elite Eight. And yeah, it sucked when those two teams lost. But at the end of the day, when we all kind of get back under the, from below the gravel, we go, hey, that was fun. That was a great time. We loved that. And donors pass the hat around from both of those programs and say, we want more, right? And there's energy to donate. Where I think in football, there's a little bit there might be some donor fatigue. And I'm not just saying for Nebraska, I'm just saying across the country, because you finish top 16 or you finish 16th place in college football. What do people say? Oh, that was a waste. That's not what I wanted. That wasn't, my money wasn't worth that. Am I gonna give that amount of money again to finish 14th? You finish 14th though in college basketball, you go, hell of a year, made it to the second weekend. We have there's a lot of excitement. Hey, let's take some more money. Let's build on top of this. So I think there might be, because of that, like college football, we want to dive a little deeper here, right? Like college football used to be that type of sport where you go, hey, 9 wins, hell of a year, for our standards, for our relative success, right? And I'm not talking about Nebraska. I'm talking about generalities, right? General college football programs. There are some programs that go, hey, we won 8 games. Hell of a season. Great time, man. I just feel like now there are less and less programs like that where it's like kind of boom or bust in making the college football playoff that makes the ROI feel a little bit lesser compared to college basketball where you can finish in 12th place and you feel pretty damn good about yourself. And I think that might be pushing the money a little bit more towards basketball from across the country. And it's not as expensive as football. Like you can donate less money as a donor to college basketball and make as big of an impact for that team as you do with the football team. I think that's a factor too.
I think there's 2 points that come to mind when you bring that up. One, in basketball, so much easier for you to see, and we've used this term ROI so much this past week, right? When it's about private jet spending or how much you're using in your expenses and all that other stuff. Basketball ROI for a donor that loves sports, so much easier to see when you can say that guy put the ball in the hoop more than the other guy from the other team. I can see that. But when you are coming to me and you're telling me, hey, I need this offensive lineman to transfer in because we got to keep our quarterback upright. And then when I go to a game in November and my quarterback gets sacked one time in a game that we win, I'm pissed because it's like, what did I spend my $50,000 for? That doesn't make any sense why that should be there. I think the second point, and you made a great point there that I hadn't thought about, but we as sports fans, especially on the college level, and I know you and I kind of agree, college sports is kind of our thing. I know obviously you've got your professional digs and whatnot, but college sports, high school sports for me reign far superior than any professional sport that I could watch. But college basketball has this romanticized value to the different levels of success in which you can achieve. And it's usually not towards any regular season success, although you can get that a la Nebraska this past season. If you get to a Sweet 16, That's a success for a lot of programs. An Elite Eight, a Final Four. It's not determined by who wins the final game of the year comparative to what step you got to. That's college basketball. College football has removed that barrier because we got rid of divisions. We wanted the best teams to get in. So winning your division, you don't hang a banner for. You don't put that up anymore. There's no, line in the sand that says this was a great season because we beat out 6 other teams on one side of our conference to get to a conference tournament. No, you have to get to a conference championship game. If you lose that conference championship game, it's still a failure because you were the second best team in your conference by your overall record, and you might not make the college football playoff. Let's say you're Texas A&M. You hosted a college football playoff game a year after you didn't make the postseason. A&M fans are not happy with where the season ended up, although they are on a dramatic rebuild after being in a financial hole that no university could recover from except for the Aggies.
Okay,
and they can't romanticize this in any other way.
So, but can I give you a counter through an example? Let's because I want to go back to your college basketball and the regular season success having a little bit more merit. I agree. I think the regular season success for college basketball definitely matters more than college football. But let's play this hypothetical game. Nebraska basketball this season goes ahead, wins 26 games, 1 and done in the Big Ten tournament. They go 1 and done in the NCAA tournament, right?
Yeah.
But let's say 2 years ago that the team that was a 9 seed for Nebraska basketball, who had way less regular season success, who lost more games, who had, didn't have as many big wins, didn't have as many moments. Let's say they won an NCAA tournament game. Even though from a regular season perspective, we would call this year's Nebraska basketball team better from a postseason perspective because that team 2 years ago won in the NCAA tournament, we would have the argument who was better than the other. We would have the argument of like, well, yeah, they had more regular season success in 2026, but that 2024 team won 2 NCAA tournament games. How do you not call them better than this 2026 team who might have won so there still is a little bit of the given, especially for the bigger programs, but it's almost as if Nebraska's lack of success for the last 40, 50 years in a way kind of sets them up perfectly from an energy and donor perspective in this era of college basketball because you don't have the high expectations. You're not expecting to go to the Elite Eight like Purdue. You're not expecting to go to the Final Four like Duke. You're happy about anything that happens. And so that the fact that you don't have that tradition kind of motivates your donors in a way to be like, we haven't had this before. We now get to make it an incredible impact to make this happen. We want to give money immediately. I think that's a factor.
There's also a different part of this, though, that once you've tasted success, you also have to realize, A, where you are coming from, and B, where you want to go to next, because you will have wildly different levels of expectation from different people. And even in the Nebraska basketball fan base, there's an expectation now that the Sweet 16 is where Nebraska needs to be year in and year out. And that's probably not realistic. And I know that that's unfortunate to say, like a week after we've already put the ashes back into the grave for Nebraska basketball. But regardless, this is, as you mentioned, a program that had 40 years of relative middling success at best, and then wins their first NCAA tournament game a few weeks ago. So what should the realistic expectations of Nebraska basketball be moving forward? And that's where the donor base has to kind of evaluate where is our next step, getting back to this and sustaining it, or are we trying to break through that barrier and put so much money and so much effort into this that we do just bust the door wide open and we're attempting to compete for national championships by the next season after this miracle run?
Well, this is the Buzz Williams theory, where it's like there's a reason why you leave a program after 5 to 7 years, because eventually they don't remember what you were, they remember what you are. And if you're not competing to what you are, then they're going to fire you, so you leave. Now, I think we could put this kind of, not in writing, but we can put this out in the ether. I think you're totally right. If Nebraska doesn't make the Sweet 16 next season, even if they win an NCAA tournament game, let's say Nebraska goes to the round of 32 next year, and they don't make it to the second weekend, you're going to have people say, okay, I'm happy they won one, but man, I would have liked that again. I would have liked to play in the Sweet 16 again. Like last season was better, right? And so it's one of those things where things that would have been everything to you definitely do get stained or marred in a way because of the previous success you had. But back to the original point of like money balling through college basketball, I would love to know like where a team's gonna zag when other teams are zigging, right? You brought up like D2 college basketball, right? Like some, you might have programs who might invest more in great D2 players and maybe bring them up with their program. I don't know, man. Like we talk a lot about wings and 3-point shooters as if they're a dime a dozen or whatever. If I was a coach and I didn't have a ton of money, I would totally go and invest in trying to find some guys who are 6'5" to 6'7" who can shoot the three and say, all right, yeah, maybe we're going to lack some size in the paint and we're going to have to figure out a way to be coherent in terms of getting our half court offense in stride. But everyone's just going to pass up on these wings who can shoot or whatever it might be. That might be your zag there because there's still some value. I think college football is probably 2 or 3 years ahead of figuring out the portal compared to where college basketball was at. Because it's just been more, there's just been more money, and I feel like there's just been more more case studies.
Well, and there's definitely more money for sure. And I don't think we've seen outside of maybe McCollum and Iowa, and obviously it's very fresh in the memory, but who else in college basketball took kind of that leap and said, okay, let's look even lower and try to build our way up? Because that's part of this like Ben McCollum conversation that I don't think gets credited enough is that, yeah, Bennett Sturts was fantastic, but he played at every level with McCollum along the way.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say like Sturts is a great player. I'm not going to Steve Sipple this and say that he's not. But what I will say is that obviously Sturts got better and played higher than the competition in which he was against at every single step of the way.
Yeah. Can you dunk on people who go, because you know this better than I do, can you dunk on the people who go, can McCollum win without Bennett? Can you please tell those people how he did before?
Yeah,
please?
He's 4 straight Division II national championships, undefeated seasons. He was trying to schedule exhibitions with teams that had no reason to say no, but every reason to try to run away from those games. So
he's not a Bennett Sturts merchant for people.
He
out
is not.
There. It's a ridiculous phrase that some people are trying.
I think to answer your question, unfortunately, with a question, this is the college football version of saying, okay, how did Curt Cignetti do this and how do I replicate it, right? Well, Cignetti did it by transferring a very veteran, old roster that was experienced and had plenty of talent and supplemented it with a Heisman Trophy level quarterback that pushed them above the fringe of where Indiana had ever been and could possibly ever go moving to the future. Iowa, kind of the same thing with McCollum. He brought a very experienced roster. He had a lot of dudes that were with him. And I think that's another underrated part of all of this, that if someone is looking from the outside, let's say, great example, let's use Rutgers, right? Because they've tried this in different ways. Rutgers just fell in the college basketball crown tournament yesterday in the quarterfinal to a notable in-state team. And they had 2 of the top lottery draft picks a year ago. And they fringed essentially their entire program on the success of those 2 players. What happened this year? They were competitive, I guess, in the Big Ten. They didn't necessarily win a lot of the games, but against some of the good teams, they played within 15 points. Like, is that where you want to be? Rutgers definitely has a great opportunity here to say, okay, what if we just get old, get a great coach that has basically extended leadership through his years, and we just build for a certain peak of a season and try to build off of that. Well, so you could call that a Nebraska model. You could call it a Curt Cignetti. You could call it whatever you want. But it looks like the best way to succeed in college sports today is to have the oldest, most experienced roster for as cheap as you could possibly build them.
Yeah. And Northwestern tried doing that, right? They had a bunch of freshmen this year. They had 4 of them. 3 of them were starting, and they lost one of them, Trey Singleton. And like to a lot of people, it's like, oh, a 6'8" power forward is in the portal. Oh, okay. He had an okay year at Northwestern. That's how people on the outside look at it. People within the Northwestern program are like, oh my God, we're screwed. Like this is what we were trying to do, and we couldn't retain him. Now, I think, and bringing it back to football, Eric Morris in Oklahoma State is going to be a fascinating case study for me because they are the first team, Oklahoma State is, to try and copy the Cignetti model. Morris was a guy from North Texas. North Texas was awesome this season. He's worked his way up from the lower levels to get to North Texas. Now this is his first Power 5 job. Brought in a ton of transfers, not just from UNT, but from across the country as well, while you're going to have a lot of the mainstay guys be from his previous job. They are the first team in college football to really go, all right, Indiana did it with Cignetti. They hired like a lower level guy who had a ton of success. We're going to hire that guy and we're going to have him bring all those dudes. That's what he's doing. If that works out, like if Oklahoma State ends up being competitive right away in the Big 12, I think you're going to see a lot of teams now that are going to be looking to the FCS, to the mid-majors in college football and say, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is the model now. I don't know. Do you have anybody in mind who would do that? I mean, that's kind of a sicko question. Who would do that in college basketball? Is there anyone out there right now? That's probably more of a Bigelow question. He would probably.
Yeah, Bigelow might have a better pulse on that.
I mean, that's a sicko suggestion if anybody were to have it. But
I can give a little bit. So part of this kind of happened, I guess, from the UNK level too. So you saw on the women's basketball side, Carrie Amy, who is the head coach at UNK, moved to Idaho to get to the Division I level, and after a year, then moved to South Dakota. She's kind of on a little bit of a collision course here that if South Dakota continues to get better, she will be in line for one of those next jobs. And that's how she's done it. I mean, this is a recipe for success that's worked at all levels, whether it's high school, if it's college, or even in the professional ranks. The more experienced and the cheaper you are, it seems to be that a lot of times you can hang with very talented teams. And we've seen that year in and year out in different ways, but it's just interesting. Yeah, I don't know how that Division II model really works because you have to have the right guy. Like McCollum is that Cignetti. Like he's a star in the night sky that just shoots by and you hope that you see it and you blink and don't miss it, right? But yeah, I'm interested. I think your Oklahoma State example is a very great example too, because especially considering all the other factors that are included in there too. Again, this is why Cignetti is such a big asterisk, because the Big Ten was like this big hounding dog of national champions with Michigan and Ohio State. And you even had some, underlying characters like Penn State and other characters that could have made that sort of rise, but it was Indiana that did it. The Big 12 is a perfect case of if a team's going to get good with experience, then why not have it be in the Big 12? Because
why not?
That is just a complete hodgepodge of a conference. And so why not have one team that significantly sticks out from the rest by doing it differently than how the other programs did?
We're Big 12 Hawks. I love the Big 12. You love the Big 12. I feel like we've become friends. Yeah. Big 12 is so much. Well, it's so stupid. It's dumb. You don't know what's going on half the time in the Big 12. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess Kansas State's good at football this year.
I guess. Maybe you touched on this yesterday, but did you watch the Iowa State AD video?
I literally was looking up. I was pulling it up here. How do you feel about them just punting on women's basketball? They are literally just going, all right, sorry, don't have enough money. We don't care.
I mean, so I understand Ames, Iowa is very Western Nebraska esque. It's basically like its distant cousin, but my God, did nobody watch that before they posted it? First off, that AD can't speak in full sentences. Second off,
he was reading off of a prompter, which is embarrassing. Can you not at least
read off the prompter? He couldn't read. It was bad. He was taking spaces where spaces were needed. But then the opposite part of that too is you're right. I mean, just to immediately say women's basketball, I understand 90% of our roster is leaving, but that's not the bad part. The bad part is that other teams in our conference also have the same problem. What the hell, man?
He started going, Baylor's going to lose all. They're only going to have 2 people coming back.
It's not a cabinet race to see who has less food. Like we're not
isn't it like when you came back and you had a bad grade in class and you're telling your mom you have a D and you're like, well, Jacob got a D too. And your mom goes, I don't give a damn what Jacob got. I'm not Jacob's parent. I'm your parent. You got to be better. I don't give a crap what the other teams are doing. I honestly, it might be, and I don't mean to be Bill Simmons here and take a small little video and blow it up into a big, is it a macro issue? But this kind of is the first time we've just seen an AD go, money's tight, we're punting. We can't do this. We can't invest in Audie Crooks. We can't invest in women's basketball. Sorry, can't happen.
But then on top of that too, I mean, my heart does go out to him a little bit, just in the fact that you lose Matt Campbell. That's a guy that, and he even, I mean, I remember when the Matt Campbell stuff went down too, the AD had even came out and said, he's just like, you know what? It was probably time. He deserved this sort of break. We're just glad that he did it here. I was like, great response. Excellent job. But then with even Otzelberger, he references in the 6-minute long rant of a video, he just goes, we made sure that he turned down other national opportunities to keep us in the Sweet 16. Great. Awesome. Does that mean that he won't do it because you didn't lock him up for the future? You just said he committed to staying. How? How did you get him?
You didn't sign him to an extension. He just said, "I don't want to move."
He just said North Carolina has too many hills. I'd rather stay here in Ames. I don't
He
want
goes,
to
have you
drive up a
seen
mountain.
what a U-Haul costs now in this economy? We're gonna move. Are you
Gas
kidding
prices
me?
are too high.
It's a long drive for my wife to make.
It is.
Might as well just buy a condo over at Chapel Hill. All right, we've gone way over time. I don't really care. This was a great discussion as always. Austin Jacobson of Herd Out Sports, who joins us every Friday at 1:00. Movie of the weekend, go.
Ooh, movie of the weekend. Gosh, you caught me. Let's do. Let me think of one off the pat. Oh, hold on. Give me 22
Yeah,
seconds.
no, we have all
to
the
pull my
we have
Letterboxd.
all the we have all the time in
Okay,
the world. We're
I did
definitely
just
not on a strict
I
clock or
just
anything.
watched this one the other day on 62 different parts on TikTok because I got bored. It's called Locked, and it has Anthony Hopkins in it. It's where he's a rich man who locks Bill Skarsgård in a car. It's very fun.
I like Anthony Hopkins as an actor. I don't know what he's done in his personal life. I have no idea if he's controversial or not. Odson is smiling back there, so I think it means that he is. But
I think he's good. I think
you think he's okay? It's poll question: is Anthony Hopkins clean? Poll question: will Austin Jacobson be back next Friday? Obviously, the answer is always yes. We will talk to you then, my friend. See you.
All right. Thanks again. Have a good one.
All righty, coming up next, we already previewed one Final Four game between UConn and Illinois. We'll preview the next one between Arizona and Michigan. Is it the pseudo-national championship game? We find out. Coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Dude, Robin Watson is cooking with peanut oil. This guy's on it. This guy's just all over it.
Friend of the show.
Husker Hoops Tunnel Talk, Nebraska's off-season focus, portal intel, staff retention, and more just dropped. Go ahead and read that from Robin. We love Robin. Comes on every Monday at 1 what time does Robin come on? 1:20? Comes on at 1:20. It's always a great interview with Robin. Watch it.
You won't get to have that.
I won't. Week. It'll be Michael Severe on Monday, and then he'll be back on the show on Tuesday so we can talk about all of the things that went wrong at the Jet Award Gala.
Of which there were many.
There were so many. Whoever that MC was, we got to fire him. We got to get a new MC. Terrible MC.
Are you wrangling for the Jet Awards MC position?
Ooh, am I positioning my inside track here just like Commandment in the Florida Derby? No, I'm not. I do not want to do that job. And the MC was great yesterday. No, I don't want to. You think Michael would ever look at me and be like, I want him to host my award show?
He would never trust you
He
to
would
do it.
never, ever trust me to do it. He barely trusts me to get to my table on time.
Yeah. We were worried.
I wasn't hobnobbing.
You
You
were.
just gotta let me hobnob, man. Hobnobber's gonna hobnob. You can't take hobnobbing away from me.
I would
That's all
never.
I got. I think you've only ever heard about my hobnobbing before, and then yesterday you really saw it
Really
in living
saw
color.
it up close and personal.
And I didn't know if you wanted to laugh or throw up. It was a
No,
great
I
time.
mean, I understand. I'm not a good networker. I don't enjoy it. I'm not good at it. I should do it, but don't. You're out there thriving. I'm not jealous, but like I wish I had that trick in my bag.
It's a gift and a curse. It's
Yeah.
even worse when you don't remember anybody's names and then they remember you because it was a great combo. And you go, shoot, was that Alyssa or Elisa or wait, was it Allie?
It was
Dang
Allie.
It was Allie. Damn it. Sometimes you got to go. I'm really good at making the face being like Ben, right?
There he is.
Hey! Well, there are some people who are way too excited to see me. Now, this did happen. They might be listening to this. I got two buddies who are twins, okay? And they're new friends.
Oh, no.
I got new friends. These are brand new friends.
New twins.
And I don't know which one is which. And I saw them at the baseball game with their dad. And they're like, hey, this is our friend Matt. And I'm like, all right, I know what the two names are collectively. I just don't know which one is which. And it was tough. I didn't attempt. I go, hey, boys, I think they had to have known. They had to have known, but I didn't know which
They're
one.
probably used to it to some extent, right?
Yeah, but like we've been at 3 parties together now. Like it's kind of embarrassing. I'm telling you, this is a problem that we're gonna have to work through. A problem that we won't have though on Saturday is watching good basketball. And the pseudo national championship will take place on Saturday between the Michigan Wolverines and the Arizona Wildcats. Now, here's what this game is going to come down to. These two teams are built pretty similarly from the fact that they are very big and that they love to put pressure on the rim. Michigan in this NCAA tournament is shooting 44% from 3. I think some people would look at that and say, wow, that's unsustainable. I mean, that's just way too hot. Now, granted, they've kicked the crap out of the teams that they played. They kicked the crap out of Tennessee. They kicked the crap out of St. Louis. They've had zero issue through this NCAA tournament. So they've been shooting well, but it's not like they've needed to be shooting super well. Like they've been okay with how they are, regardless of whether or not they're hitting 44% from 3-point land. But Elliot Cadeau having a great tournament. Roddy Gale hitting from 3-point range. That's been big for them. Trey McKinney having a solid tournament, hitting from outside. You got 3 guys, though, in Merez Johnson, Ade Mara, and Yaxel Lendenborg. And Yax is, that was the key that Dusky May talked about in the Big Ten tournament. We are at our best when Yax is being aggressive to the paint. He's being aggressive to the paint. And so it's opening up a lot of shots on the outside. And it's one of those things where if you're going to allow Michigan to put pressure on the hoop, you're not going to beat Michigan. Arizona, though, is built to do that. Like that is the big thing. If there's anybody who is built to stop Michigan from being able to get to the rim, being able to, crash and dish out into the perimeter, and who's also, this is a very underrated part, and this is why I freak out about wingspans, especially on teams. It's all about contesting shots. And so if there's a team that can recover really well and contest your shots on the outside after being put pressure on the hoop, it's Arizona. It's Arizona. That's what they do. They got Pete. They got Bradley. They got Krivas. They got Burries. Like they got the boys. They have what they need in order to counter some of the things that Michigan does really, really well on offense. And at the same point, you got a Michigan team where Arizona likes to do the same thing. Now, the difference between these two things is their three-point rate. You got Michigan, who has a 42% three-point rate, and you got Arizona, who's got a 24% three-point rate. And so Arizona is very reliant, way more reliant on the two ball than Michigan is. And so it comes down to this. If Arizona can stop Michigan or deter them from getting to the hoop as easily and establishing a presence, they're going to win. If Arizona hits from outside, they are going to win. If Arizona finds quality shots from putting pressure on the hoop, which Michigan had some trouble with Oscar Clough and Trey Kaufman-Renn and Cam Boozer, if they can do that, they are going to win. But I think if this game plays out pretty evenly, at the end of the day, threes are more than twos. And Michigan hits more threes, and they take more threes. And so Arizona's going to have to find a legitimate mismatch. They're going to have to find a legitimate advantage. They're going to have to play better straight up, whether it be from a paint pressure perspective or from a shutting down the perimeter perspective on contest. But if these two teams play up to their equal level, which they're pretty equal in terms of just overall skill, right? And now it comes in different spots, but it's a math problem. It really just comes down to math. Michigan hits more threes. Michigan gets to the free throw line. Michigan, is great from the charity stripe. It's just one of those. These two teams are incredibly even, which is why the spread is what the spread is. It's sat at 1.5 for a very big part of this week. Currently, right now, it's Michigan -1.5. And so our simulator here on Sportsline, which is a great app that I use, the sim has Michigan winning 78-77.
Whoa. It's going to be a good game.
A very, very tightly contested game here. I would expect the under as well to hit in this game. I think this is going to be slower.
Undies.
Now, another thing to point out here, Arizona great in the fast break. An advantage does go to Michigan. Michigan, one of the best transition defenses in the country, 98th percentile. They held one of the best transition offenses in the country to Alabama to 7 points on the fast break. So it's one of those things where that is Michigan has these slight advantages. Just these very, very slight advantages, man. Just these very close advantages on transition defense, advantage on the three-point offense. But at the same time, if there's anybody to counter the counter that is the living embodiment of the Michigan roster, it's built to be Arizona. You can make an argument that if you were to build a roster to beat Michigan, it would be the Wildcats. Can't wait to watch that game. Can't wait to see what else we're going to be watching this weekend. Josh Otson going to give us all that and more along with the dog of the day on 1620 The Zone Radio Network. Josh Hudson, what are we watching this weekend?
Well, there's a lot of it, so bear with me here. I'll try and get through it as quickly as humanly possible.
I'll bear down with you.
Final Four this weekend, UConn, Illinois, 5 o'clock on Saturday. It's on TBS. Very funny. You can catch that game on 1180. Coverage beginning for some reason at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a big game.
Very.
Then Michigan and Arizona at about 7:45 Saturday night on TBS and 1180. And also 1620 The Zone. We believe Creighton's semifinal game will have wrapped up by then, and we'll get to that, okay? Because the Crown semifinals are tomorrow.
Yes, they are.
Oklahoma Baylor, 12:30. FS1, followed by West Virginia and Creighton. Coverage beginning right here on The Zone at 1:30. Shoot around with Austin, of course. Then John Bishop and Connor Happer take you inside the arena at 2:30 for a 3 o'clock tip. Overtime with Dan Campanen.
Whoa, Danny boy.
Yeah. Then championship for the Crown Sunday, 3 o'clock on 1620 The Zone, if necessary. The NIT championship is Sunday night at 7 o'clock. Tulsa versus Auburn. Tulsa, it's all on you.
I don't care, by the way. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about you. I don't care if Auburn wins.
That Pearl kid's going to go, yep.
No.
I think we need to expand the tournament because we should have been in there, and I think we would have won the whole damn thing.
Josh, you work with somebody who sometimes will say stupid things, and you just go, I'm not even going to respond to that. Like, it's just dumb. It's just whatever. That's how I feel. I'm just like,
I'm just telling you, Bruce Pearl's going to be in his bag.
What? So you could play in the play-in and maybe win a game and then maybe win another game and then get knocked out in the round of 32. You weren't going to win the national championship. Get out of here. I don't care. I don't care about that.
You can hear that game on 1620 The Zone, as well as the D2 national championship, 11:45 a.m. Sunday. Lander versus Gannon. Who you got? I know. Don't make you choose. It's like
my
your
two
favorite
children.
Kids. Yeah. The women's Final Four is tonight on 1620 The Zone. 6 o'clock. South Carolina, UConn, Texas, UCLA.
I'll take UConn and Texas, UCLA.
NBA Sunday night, NBC, Lakers, Mavs at 6:30. Rockets, Warriors at 9 on Peacock. WNBA expansion draft in about 45 minutes on ESPN. Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo need some players.
They're expanding?
Yes. It's a growth industry.
I had no idea.
NHL on ABC tomorrow. Red Wings, Rangers at 11:30. Then Avalanche and Stars. Baseball.
Oh, that's a great game.
Yeah. Baseball, number one overall prospect Connor Griffin's MLB debut is in about an hour in Pittsburgh. Brewers, Royals tonight on Apple, tomorrow on FS1. Braves, Diamondbacks tonight on Apple. Cubs, Guardians tomorrow night on Fox. And Cardinals, Tigers, your Peacock Sunday night baseball game. Creighton and UConn going on right now. They'll play at 9 a.m. tomorrow on ESPN+. Nebraska Public Media has Nebraska baseball tonight at 6 o'clock. Big Ten Network has Nebraska softball at 5 o'clock tonight, Matt.
You were not kidding.
It's a lot. It's a whole weekend.
I really had to bear with you there.
All right, folks, let's talk right now. I'm going to kill your bookmaker. I'm going to rip his throat out. I will blow this man out. I will step on his throat until the man chokes. Let me tell you how. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. I'm on a roll.
Dude, you got to love dogs, right?
We got a dog, baby.
You were going to go the D2 title game, weren't you?
I
spoiled
I was
dog
like,
of
I'm
the
all
day.
over Jonathan Gannon to win the D2 title.
I think it's Rich Gannon.
Jonathan Gannon was the coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Different. Are they related?
No, Gannon's a school. Oh, are those two Gannons? I don't. Hell if I know. Ask Josh Peterson.
Well, he thought Scott Satterfield and Marcus Satterfield were related. They were not. Over 144.5 in the Illinois UConn game. That'll get you at plus 144. I think it's a great bet. I think those two teams are going to score a lot of points. Enjoy the basketball. Enjoy the hockey. Enjoy the baseball. Enjoy the college sports. Enjoy the pro sports. I'll see you on Tuesday, Knuckleheads. It's Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone Radio Network. Coming up next, USC and the Crossover. Don't go anywhere.